It has to conform to the natural state of things, which is a curve. You know, not just one direction, but north, south, east, west. It has to curve from every angle. So it's got to make up for this lack of curvature here. It's got to make up for it somewhere else to complete this circle. Where is this curve? Where do we ever observe it? Just to get their head, get the wheels in their head, break through their crust, like their cognitive dissonance crust. You have to have something to break through it, the initial break.
Mm-hmm.
First thing for me was the moon landing. Like, oh, that's fake. And then I started, actually, my cousin brought up flat earth, but I tried to dismiss it right away. Like, oh, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. But he didn't know how to, he's not very articulate. Like, he's like, no, man, water, it's just, the water is always flat. You know, he's like a stoner. What do you mean it's flat? I'm like, yeah, I know water's flat, but when you get a lot of it, it just, the gravity keeps it, you know, then you got to dismiss gravity. Like all these things fall apart. About fish.
Yep. Say that again.
Like, I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Oh, that was funny.
It's like, wait a minute, I thought you believe in the Bible. Let me show you some Bible verses that God describes the flat earth as being about fish. Trumpy girls online.
Say that again.
Like, I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, oh, that was funny.
It's like, wait a minute, I thought mine's not showing me to be online.
Say that again.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Oh, that was funny.
But it won't. Like, wait a minute, I thought you believed. Me and Hulk are both mods. We got one anti-flat earther and one flat. Maybe you should try and red pill him. How badly is he indoctrinated? I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Oh, that was funny.
It's like, wait a minute.
So it's showing like the last recording that I did, not the live stream. So why is it doing that? Okay, it's working now.
Just listen to your stream, dude. It's funny.
Is the chat available? Can you see a chat?
Let me go back. Hold on.
I can just get everything configured and working. I can just come on and hit
Yep.
the stream button.
It works, dude. I just put a test on it. Cool.
Oh yeah, see ya.
Your other one was 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah. It changed the
That was
title too.
right.
You see it says Free Thinkers Lounge, Flat Earth current topic.
That's cool. Are we streaming live right now?
Yep.
All right, we got to get some more people on. We can't just have two people. So what are you gonna run this 24/7, right?
Say that again. Wait, what the heck? Oh, it changed the URL on me.
That would be cool. We should run a 24/7. Other people are doing it. And other people are doing
Well, that's
it.
kind of what I want to do.
I think you could get a lot of subs, man.
I got a new subscriber.
And other people are doing
Well,
it.
that's kind of what I want to do.
That's me. I think you could get a lot of subs, man.
I got a new subscriber. Be sure to hit the like
That's
button.
me.
I've always wanted to
Think
say
you
that.
could get a lot of subs, man. I did. I gave it a like. The one with
Be sure to hit the
333.
like.
Let me
That's
give the
me.
new one a like.
I've always wanted to I like say
Get a
this.
lot of subs, man. I did. I gave it a like. The one with
Be sure to hit the
333.
like.
Let me
That's
give the
me.
new one a like.
I've always wanted I to like say that.
Get a
This.
lot of subs, man. I did. I gave it a like. The one with 333. Let me give the new one a like.
I like this.
I did. I gave it a like. The one with 333. Let me give the new one a like.
It like repeats forever. I'm probably gonna have to not be. I'm probably gonna have to just look at it through the normal window so it doesn't echo.
Oh yeah, you got echoes on it. Well, this is badass. Now we got another place we can hang out. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. We had a nice momentum going.
Well, we still can. It's not too late.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of people that are probably getting sick of their rules because what's his name? Sean just left. He was probably tired of it. He's like, whatever. I don't know if he got kicked out or if he left.
I just sent Sean Brown an invite to the YouTube.
I just did too.
The Goyim no.
Oy vey. Well, did you send one a Trump card?
I did not. Is he on right now?
He's on. I'll send him one. You could send him. Yes, you send it personally because then he could see who it is, right? I'm just going through my friend list. I'm gonna send it to the flat earthers.
I gotta add some flat Earth emojis.
Yeah, I have one on Lift the Veil. They made one for me.
I made one on QNN when I was an admin. I put it on there, and I used it for a while, and nobody noticed it. And then finally, they were like, "Hey, you can't use that."
You know who I think it was? Who was that one British guy? Yeshua bin David.
Yeah,
He was. This is one. He was way too subtle, and he took too long to get to his point. By the time he got to it, he already lost the audience.
that's how British are. They think everyone's dumber than them. He is a
Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, despite that, he is extremely brilliant. So I understand why he does that because he's probably used to doing that.
yeah, I like him. I was friends with. I didn't know if I could trust him or not because
You
all the
can.
Australians and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I could trust these guys.
He hasn't been on in a while though. He's been kind of out of it all. They might have killed him. He was working on a free energy device. I have a picture he showed me. That one looks like ours.
Hey, is real 1776 Patriot a flat earther?
I don't know, but he is a cool guy. I like him. That's NT Writer, I think.
I'll send one to him.
I think someone just started watching, so it might be Trumpy Girl. Hey, Trumpy.
Is she on YouTube?
Healthy Beardies.
Are you friends with Redonkulous?
We're not on good terms.
Okay.
I was on good terms, and then one of his admins kicked me from his channel.
I think it was Stormfag.
No, it's from Darkness to Light. We had this conversation.
Oh yeah. Both of them are globe. Those are globe tards.
Yeah.
I think Redank is more open though, because he let me talk about it for a while. He was cool
Yeah,
with
he
me.
let us talk about it in there too because we didn't want to be queuing in, but we got into some like race conversation from Q when Q started that race conversation, and like Whirlium.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
What was it about?
Whirlium was in there, and he was black, and we were just discussing how like, well, because Q was like, we're all one color, or Patriots doesn't know color, that kind of thing. That's what he said. He said something to that effect or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, but the thing is, I was like, how many people in here are black? And like one person raised their hand, and I was like, well, there you go. I said, the thing is, it's great that he's here, and that's amazing. Like you've overcome so much programming, but there's a lot of black people who aren't here helping us. That was like the comment I made, and that got everyone kind of upset, but it was true. It wasn't like untrue or anything.
Right. No, you're just being honest, like realism. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Let's just be realistic and not like be social justice or virtues. He's like, oh, you can't say that shit, bro.
right. And then Darkness from Light was like, well, I don't know why we gotta categorize them, or put them in, why can't we just all be patriots? Like that's what the Q post was trying to say. But I was like, well, no, I disagree with that. I mean, we can be, we should be, but I'm just saying as it stands, we're not, and we need to talk about it. And as soon as I said that, she was like, boot. Like she did not want me to like be there at all. Like they totally and
You're
Redank,
the clan.
right? Redank wasn't even in the room when it happened, and I guess he just heard from people or whatever. And Joshua went back and talked to him and told him that it wasn't him. Like it was your admin, which I don't think she's an admin or even on that server anymore, is she? I think she got kicked off that server.
Which one?
Redank server.
No, but who? Darkness to Light. I haven't been on
Yeah.
Redanks. I've been kicked off of there. I think from Stormfact.
Right. I'm gonna do it at everyone.
Do a flat everyone.
Sent.
I sent out a bunch of invites. I got some messages. Let me see who signed up.
What's up, Bob? Should be able to talk now.
What's going on, fellas?
Welcome, welcome.
What are you guys up to?
Just getting this channel going. We had a lot of people join it, but we're really gonna start pushing it now. So we got YouTube running right now. Start a YouTube stream too.
There's many deceivers among us.
Yep. weak I am now.
What's that? Who's deceiving?
Discord's riddled with them.
Did you send one to Jelly Jones?
She's already in here. I did it at everyone, so she should get that if she sees it.
All right, I seen her typing. I didn't know who was a male or female.
It's a she, yeah.
Did you get anyone new?
Yeah, I've got 5 people watching right now.
What up, Tucker? We got 2 of my boys on there. Did you guys join on Discord too? I see them on YouTube.
Yeah, I see him on YouTube as well. I wonder if my YouTube stuff works here. Let me try this out. These are my spam codes for Google.
Yeah, we're just getting it running. We're hoping to have like a 24/7 live stream. We could talk about all topics from flat Earth to QAnon to 9/11 to any topic at Pizzagate, anything like that.
Ew, that didn't work out too well.
Well, that's cool. We got 4 of us in Discord.
Yep. Ray's mic is muted, but he can hear us. I could switch it to not push for talk, but you probably hear a lot of stuff you don't want to hear in my house.
Are you talking to me?
No, Rice.
I sent him an invite. He's on my other. I'm on 2 of his Discords, on the Flat Earth one, and he's in like a religious one. I think he's in a Christian server.
Yeah, I was in that Saints, End Time Saints. I left when they added all the LGBT group.
Was that the one? It was like call for an uprising. He had a Discord, and then it was changed to something else.
I'm not too sure. I think it was End Time Saints or something like that. I don't know much more about it.
Yeah, Tucker sent me an invite. Weed Man.
Don't know him.
Awesome. We got Jelly Jones on YouTube. Let's see if we could get this up to 100 people on that stream.
All right, I'm gonna rig it.
I could go blast it, but I don't want to. We need. Did you make a room for people to come and just check them out? Because I don't want to have a bunch of trolls.
Oh, the rooms are already ready. They're ready to go. The rooms.
All right, I'll go light it up.
Yeah, y'all can go view the rooms of what we already have, and then we can start talking about what we got. What's up, Polite?
What up?
We're just getting
What
our.
y'all,
Oh, go ahead.
what y'all doing over here?
Just getting the YouTube going for the Free Thinkers Lounge.
Any topic of discussion?
Anything, man. Right now we're starting off with like they're doing some like Q and flat Earth stuff. Some people are just getting on.
Pretty much anything that exposes government corruption. You know, if you want to talk about the Vatican, the Jesuits, Pizzagate, 9/11, Sandy Hook, Flat Earth, QAnon, anything like that. If you got anything new that you want to share with anybody that maybe everyone doesn't know about, we talk about hoaxes and things like that. Pretty much anything you want to talk about.
Word. Well, in my opinion, WikiLeaks is a problem.
Yep, it's
Think it,
comped.
you think it's Zionist controlled? I was thinking the same thing. Julian Assange. I've heard that for a long time.
Well, so this is kind of like a little bit of a raunchy thing to say because like I'm just talking about what was posted by Julian though. I think it was either Julian Assange or WikiLeaks, and now I'm kind of failing to recall, but it wasn't that long ago. And on one of their pages, they posted a a YouTube video, and they said Russian vape, and they were talking about essentially how they never worked with Russia. And so they posted this YouTube video. I click on the link, I go to the YouTube video, and it is of a teen boy who is masturbating onto a plate, and then he sucks up his jism into like a little dripper for his e-cig. He drips it all over his e-cig, vapes it, and then pukes all over.
I seen that. That was disgusting.
Dude, nobody else fucking saw that. Bro, I'm glad you did, because fucking people don't even believe me. That was disgusting.
The way I knew about 6 months ago, I had a Clinton email from there that got removed from the site. And
And that was a problem too, yeah.
yeah, when I saw that, I knew they were comped. And I tried to tell people that. And I was like, I think they're comped. People were like, I don't know if they are. But like, I'm pretty sure they might be. I don't know 100%, but it seems like it. And now all this stuff's happening. I was like, yeah. And there was also an anon post on 4chan stating that all the governments of the world came together to take care of that website because they were basically all their secrets were like getting exposed to that site, so they came down on them hard. It was one of like the largest website takeovers, and they wanted to keep it there because they were making it a honeypot. So if you actually go there, and for like the last year, if you go there um, and post something like a whistleblow for whatever reason, you'll get like they'll find out who you are because they'll act like they're Julian or somebody, take your information, and then they'll show up at your door.
Well, do you know about Aaron Schwartz?
I've heard of them, yeah. I don't know too much about them.
I mean, I don't know a whole ton either, but that whole thing is pretty crazy. And the fact that he was involved with Reddit and the secure drop thing that they use for WikiLeaks, is that the case? Is that not right?
Something like that, yeah. I don't think that. I think that's comped because they want to capture people. If you look at stuff that's a year older, like a year or older, it should be fine. But anything after that, it's probably compromised. They had to leave some of the stuff on there, and they did leave some of it because otherwise people would like notice. But like all the Clinton stuff just disappeared. I was like,
Dude, one day, after WikiLeaks had already published all of her emails, there was this hush hush talked about drop that I caught on to that was supposed to be Hillary's deleted emails, right? And everybody was like freaking out, like, yeah, they're here, this is the motherfuckers, like this is them. And then like it just hush hushed. I expected it to be on every media outlet on planet of Earth, right? Nothing. Not a word, not a peep, not a nothing. But I downloaded those motherfuckers, and sure as shit, they're 28,000 Hillary Clinton emails, and I don't think they're on WikiLeaks.
Hmm.
I don't know though, but I mean, it's got a lot of crazy shit. It's like them talking back and forth, Hillary Clinton and her sources in Libya, talking back and forth about what they were using as their propaganda strategy, including the propaganda posters that they were making over there. That they weren't necessarily posters, but they're like these banners and things like that that they're using to try and like sway the opinion of the American public and the generals and other things like that. It's kind of weird, and I really don't know if I've seen it anywhere else, but I haven't looked too extensively. And honestly, I kind of stayed away from the emails because they were pretty sketch, so I just haven't even delved into it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely look at it. That's one of the emails that got removed from WikiLeaks.
Yeah, we're streaming live on Akitas's YouTube channel. We're trying to build up a channel like a 24/7 live stream where it's just all truth and there's nothing that's off topic because a lot of these groups won't let us talk about flat earth. So it's like, you know what, we're going to do our own thing and we'll have this a battle of ideas. Let's see who wins out.
Those were taken with actual cameras, not like screenshots. You can see how they're off, like the lines and stuff. They're not just taken with a straight up. Those were like grabbed with a camera from WikiLeaks. Those are no longer on WikiLeaks. And of course, Snopes says they're fake. But they're just doing their job, right?
Hillary Clinton was going to hammer her pizza.
She couldn't wait for sacrifice night.
Damn.
That RICO complaint's gonna be nice. So right now we're thinking that's gonna be it's a civil suit. It's not a federal. It's not a. It's a civil suit, which means they're not going to jail for anything, but they can be fined or discover. But the thing is it's going to bring up so much discovery that it's going to end up
Yes.
causing criminal.
Yep. That's exactly my take on it.
Yep. So that's how she's going to go down. The Biner guy, oh my gosh, he has got some serious cojones, but I'm glad he's doing it.
Have you read into that at all? Like, have you
I
downloaded
have.
the file?
Yes, I
God
have.
damn. Which I mean, essentially, this is his allegation. So that's what this is his allegation. So he can put anything he wants in that technically. But it's 201 fucking pages. That shit's
Yeah.
gnarly.
Dude, yeah, one of the things they said in it is like she would sit there and they'd come in and Hillary would be tossing like those crystal ashtrays, which are like weigh a ton, throwing them at Bill for like all the girls he would have like in the Oval Office because it wasn't just Lewinsky, it was like a bunch of other girls he had in there as well.
She threw fucking ashtrays. I heard about that once.
Yeah, the freaking dude, she picks stuff up and throws like that's what she does. She's known to be getting furious.
Okay, so what about this whole flat Earth thing? I've never had any kind of evidence shown to me ever in the history of ever that was conclusive or made me think, that's probably true.
Well, we can give you a lot of stuff. Have you looked at like the laser test? Or a good place to start is NASA. A lot of people figured it out by themselves by going to NASA and looking at their own pictures. Um, it's particularly the pictures of Earth over the years. There's like a collection of them. They may not all be together, and that's for good reason. Because if you were to actually compare each year to each other, you'd see like in one year, like North America was like super large, and it wasn't scaled properly. And then like the next year, it was like tiny, and it proves that they can't actually get a real photograph of Earth.
There's a
The
lot of good
speed, though.
proofs. The I just dropped this meme about the curvature of the Earth, the tilt, the speed which the Earth allegedly orbits the sun, and they all come to 666. Like, do you think that's a random coincidence? There's so many. Like, there's a salt flat in Bolivia. It's 4,000 square miles. It's completely flat and level. So when they get 1 inch of rain, the entire area turns into a mirror. I thought it was a bunch of horse crap too. Like, first I heard of it, I'm like, that's bullshit. That's it's definitely some kind of psyop to make truthers look bad. This was back when I was in, big into 9/11 and stuff.
These are
And
army. These are military.army doc. A picture of a doc there. You can search for that title on Google, and you can get the actual PDF. It's available publicly. It's an army doc of their own admittance.
it's a process. I'll admit it. I didn't believe it at first. I'm like, this is bullshit. And I set out to like prove it all wrong. And I started finding videos and stuff like guys that were like legit people. There's a engineer that just came out as a flat earther. He builds highways and bridges. And he's like, you know what? I gotta come clean. I've been doing this 15 years. And he never accounts for any curvature. Same thing with the land surveyors. It's hard to take in at first. It seems like this can't be right, but you just got to dig a little deeper. Give me a minute. I'll go dig up some proofs.
So I posted one there that talks about it's like a kind of a long name to show like like if you're in the pyramids, you can map out the stars at the same exact place that they were there 6,000 years ago. Like you can be inside the pyramid and look up through the ceiling, and they have like star holes where you can like see the constellations for certain things, and you can still see them today, 6,000 years later. If we're going through space as fast as they say they are, I think those stars would be a little bit different position. It wouldn't match up through those holes, but they still do. People have actually gone and tested this. These are two of the 2 years of NASA actual Earth photos. You can see how big they made North America. Oh, did he leave? Yeah, I guess he dipped out.
Yeah, a lot of these people that be coming and going at first till they get a feel for it. But can you switch it so that some people could be on without using push to talk? Could you have that option where everyone
Yeah, I'm
doesn't have?
gonna try and do that. I have it's not letting me do it in stream mode.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, this is Trump Card. It scares people to entertain the thought that every single thing that flat Earth entails invokes that we've been in a lie, that our whole lives have been a lie.
Yeah, that's kind of what started me, was looking at the Earth pics, and I didn't have this all laid out so easily. I was actually on NASA's site looking through it, and I was like, why are these so off? And then the question came to me, why are they off? Like, these have to be CGI'd. If that's the case, why don't we have an actual picture of Earth, like a full picture? That's not CGI. And I looked, and there was no actual picture of Earth CGI or non-CGI.
Right. That's just one of the many things that woke me up too. And then seeing that those flimsy craft that supposedly they could land on the moon with back in the 60s, and now they claim they don't have the technology, is just totally ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the YouTube video. Yeah, we don't have the technology anymore. We destroyed it. We also destroyed the footage of the greatest human achievement ever made. We don't have a copy of that either anymore. Because they know it'd get picked apart and we'd be able to look at it and see all this fakeness. We'd use images from it. We'd be able to take Photoshop and lighten it up and see the studio cameras in the background or things like that.
Yeah, technology eventually catches up with all the lies, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's a perfect example of that.
That's like the P900. When people started getting pictures of Chicago from across Lake Michigan, they're like, wait a minute, no amount of optics should be able to show this skyline, because there should be 2,400 feet of curve. We shouldn't see it at all, but you could see the whole skyline.
So how many feet away is that skyline, or how many miles?
It's about 57. It depends where you take it from, between 60, 57. The coastline's not uniform, so if you take it closer to Indiana, then it's a little bit closer.
If you're watching on YouTube, I'm pulling up the Earth curvature calculator, setting it to 57 miles. So that should be 2,166 feet of curvature. So no amount of viewing. Is the skyscraper half a mile tall or near half a mile tall?
Not even. I think it's just over 1,000 foot. The tallest one.
So the tallest one's not even 2,000 feet tall. So you absolutely should not be able to see it at all. It should just look like a horizon with sky.
And the thing is, we could see a lot of the smaller ones. A lot of those smaller ones are probably less than 500 feet. Well, they're definitely less than half the height of the tallest one.
Yep. Almost half a mile, guys. 0.4 miles. The math's there, and we're just plugging in normal formulas that we learned in school. And we're taking their values for the measured Earth.
This is what it looks like. It's a little bit hazy, this picture, but you could see the building on the left, right. You see how they're all 90 degrees to the water surface. So it's a little bit tilted, this pic here, but if you lay it out, the water's always going to be level, and then the buildings will always be 90 degrees to the water. So if you went all the way down Lake Michigan to somewhere like Green Bay, Wisconsin, you're going to see the same thing. The buildings there will be 90 degrees to the water, and we know this water's not curving. So Lake Michigan from north to south is 300 miles. There should be over 11 miles of curve. So that's like 2 times what Mount Everest is, the height of Mount Everest. You should have to stack on the other end to keep a level surface. But the elevation stays flat. Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, they're both 577 feet above sea level. They're the exact same elevation from Chicago all the way to Canada, the same elevation, no change. It's a flat plain, the water. We got Mikey here.
That's a good one. Not another space actor for NASA. Good one, Mikey.
I can't wait
That's
to
great.
troll the Space Force, Trump's new Space Force. I think he's setting them up for failure. You know, I think he knows that the Earth is flat. I've heard someone say that Trump has mentioned it before that it's flat, but he knows they didn't go to the moon. So he's like, okay, guys,
What?
here's the money, and he's going to demand results. Like, why didn't you go? I gave you the money. You went there in the 70s and the 60s. Why can't you do it now? He's like, he's putting their back against the wall. He's basically calling them out.
You're mistaken. Trump claims that we've gone to the moon on many occasions, and he's never said the Earth is flat. That's false. And haven't you heard about the inception of the Space Force?
I think he's
Like
trolling
6
them,
days
dude.
ago?
I think he's
No,
trolling
absolutely
them.
not.
Did you guys see him make the dome shape in the speech the other night?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why I think he's trolling them. He went to Arch. He goes, yeah, exactly, dude. That was the firmament. He did that same dome shape.
He's trolling you. He's trolling us.
What do you mean?
Why would he be trolling us?
Trump has gone to the same places and raped children just like all the other presidents before him. He's a Satanist.
You got no proof of that.
The Epstein Island, you're saying the flight log? I've
Yeah.
never seen the flight log. Do you got it? If you got a screen capture, if you could share that with us, that would be good. I mean, I'm not
I
gonna.
don't.
If you got any proof, I'm willing for everyone
you-
should be able to come and talk about anything.
Do you truly believe that we would receive a good king without repenting?
Who says we're not?
You think you think the people in America repented?
A lot of them are. They're beginning to.
I'm mistaken.
I think there's a lot of good people. We've been lied to about everything. Like once you realize that, like all this shit's a lie, like starting from the shape of the earth, it's all a lie, man. When you think about how big the government has to be to keep this a secret, there already is a global government keeping this a secret, like the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, the Zionists. They're all working together for Satan to keep this lie going.
And even the Bible proves that the earth is not a globe, but it's flat.
If people have been misled, like in a grand scale, the Lord is going to send somebody. He's not going to allow his test for mankind to be disrupted in such a manner. He's going to level the playing field.
Have you not read Revelation? You not
Yes,
know the prophecy?
Yes, I have. However, that doesn't mean it has to occur now. You're thinking of the end is here, but it doesn't have to be here. It doesn't have to be now.
I think the end has already came back in the year 70 CE or 70 AD.
I posted a Challenger picture of all the people who supposedly died in the Challenger but are still alive. There's a before their Challenger Day picture and then their picture today. 6 of the 7 turn out to still be alive. Look at that. So they weren't even in the spaceship. It's another NASA lie. So that's what started it for me, is looking at all the the NASA lies and starting to say, well, what's going on here? They're lying about everything, and you have to ask why. I mean, it begs the question. What is it? What is it that they're hiding, or what is it that they are, trying to hide, and why? It doesn't make sense to lie about it.
They're hiding God.
Right? They're hiding God for one. That's a big one. Because if everything just accretion disk together and coalesced, then that means God didn't do it. It just all happened naturally. But if there was an actual world that was flat with a dome, and we were enclosed, it has to be engineered. There's no way that can happen naturally.
Yes, flat Earth explains God and shows God's as a creator. There has to be a creator other than the ball in the middle of a space that just happened to get here by a big bang. That made so much sense to me.
Paul on the plane. I haven't seen that one. What is this video of?
Hey everyone, Paul is back with another short video today. This is a video
the globe teaching didn't even get heliocentricity didn't ever get started until what, 500 years ago.
That's what QAnon said. When did things go bad, or what happened 500 years ago? There was one of his clues. When did things go haywire 500 years ago or something like that? And that's when they changed the model of the Earth, and like all this crazy shit. They did it to disprove God. They changed the sun to the center of the solar system. So because they're sun worshipers, so everything in their model revolves around the sun.
Exactly. And I was not aware of the 500-year thing mentioned by Q.
Yep. It was that's when Copernicus invented this. So there's Freemasons. It involves Freemasons. I've heard stuff about Epstein Island, like what the other guy was saying about Trump going to Epstein Island. I just haven't seen the flight logs. I mean, it could be true. I'm not going to say he's a saint. I'm not going to, he could be just as bad. I'm still not 100% on board, because what if we're being set up? Like, okay, Trump will save you, and he could double cross us. We can't trust anyone at this time. We have to be vigilant. We can't let our guard down.
Don't you see that Trump becoming president is this? It has been used in the predictive programming, just like how they foretell you what's going to come through media and books, just like all their other moves.
I've seen that on The Simpsons, like in the Simpsons episode where it predict, and then even Back to the Future, like Biff is supposed to be Trump in Back to the Future. I've seen it, but I mean the libtards
been in music videos since the 80s.
It seems like they're shitting their pants that Trump is president, and I mean I don't want to black pill myself. I got to maintain some kind of hope, but I'm also skeptical of everybody. I'm like, what if this guy hung out with all the scumbags like Soros, his son-in-law, but in the meantime, a lot of these guys, the bad guys, are being revealed. So I mean, you don't want to be too black pilled. You got to maintain some hope. At the end of the day, I put my hope in God. That's it. That's the only person I trust is God. But and that we have to red pill other people. We have to get these truths out here, and expose all this stuff, all the evil, like the Pizzagate. There was a thing going on where a Catholic priest slapped a little boy like a baby, right in front of his parents. He slapped him right in the face, and then this NXIVM, with the sex cult with NXIVM, that's being revealed. So a lot of this stuff is coming out. These scumbags are going to go down. John Podesta, Hillary, Obama. There's Anthony Weiner's laptop with all the life insurance file, and then that the WikiLeaks, which you just showed.
So, Bob, do you think that Trump is like not good or something?
Absolutely not.
Do you think Hillary is good?
Nope.
So you think they're all bad?
Absolutely.
So who do you think is good? Anyone?
Anyone who holds political office that has any real power has had sex with goats as a rite of passage.
Do you know? Yeah, but he's not a politician. That's the thing. He's a businessman.
Yes, he is.
He has never been in politics prior. That's why they hate him so much. That's why they attack him so much.
Has God in the past, according to the Bible, ever used anyone other than one of his people to bring about change?
In fact, he's destroying all that gateway, entryway stuff. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's tearing it all down. Do you think he's in league with them and he's just pretending?
Yes.
I mean,
it's a
thought, but I don't know. I mean, it's a thought.
Why
we
do you
definitely
think
keep it in mind?
Why do you think he was allowed to call out the news media for being completely fake? Because their influence has shifted from the news to social media. It's all scripted.
Yeah, but he's
I don't
also
know.
controlling
Is
the
a
social media,
deceiver.
though.
See, they don't want to let the cat out of the bag, like that they're raping children, the whole Pizzagate stuff. That is like, when everybody knows that, there will be no place safe for these people to hide, because the people that are protecting them, like the NYPD, they wanted to leak Wiener's laptop, but they're like, no, 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 not yet. We got to reel in the bigger fish.
No,
If
well,
we
they tried.
release
That's
it,
why Comey came out 4 days before the election day and was trying to do it, because Comey was afraid that the NYPD was actually going to leak it. So he came out and said it, which ruined her chances.
weren't some of the cops that saw that, weren't they killed like suspiciously? They were like suspicious death.
I'm not sure if they were killed or not. I haven't heard that.
I heard they died.
I think 2 of them were.
What's that? I didn't hear you.
I think 2 cops were killed over that.
That's what I was thinking too. I heard 2. One of them was a woman, and the other one was a man. I think 2. I don't know if they were both detectives.
I heard that the 2 you mentioned were connected to that laptop or knowing about it.
Yeah, they viewed it, but they made copies. They sent one to the FBI. They made additional copies, and they yeah, I mean, right now they're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Once enough people have viewed that, and there's a lot of powerful people on that laptop, that once they are exposed, it's going to take down the whole cabal.
Back in the Bible times, and there are, I think, some contradictions throughout the Bible in different places. So I think we have to divide the word and figure it out. But Cyrus was used by God in the past to liberate his people from a satanic regime. So why couldn't he do it today?
I mean, yeah, I don't think Trump is a perfect person. None of us are. He's had his flaws, and I'm not expecting him to be Jesus. You know, only Jesus was perfect, and look what they did to him. So at the end of the day, we're going to need to save ourselves. But he's allowing us to do this. Trump is allowing us to have this. Hillary would have shut down the internet. We would be like over in Europe, they can't even, they're outlawing memes,
We would
right?
already
They're
be at
clamping.
World War III if Hillary had won. She was trying to start
Yeah.
war with Russia during her campaign speech.
And look, we have peace in North Korea. We have peace in North Korea, and then Iran is next. We're working on Iran, and I guess there's already peace deals going on that we don't know about.
So how do
You want it?
how do you explain, Bob, the Saudi Arabia ties that are now good with us, the Korean ties that are good? They're no longer like a threat to anyone.
I'll tell you exactly what's happening.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. This is what's going to happen. Trump's already got his peace team, and it's starting with North Korea. What do all these places have in common? North Korea, the places in the Middle East you mentioned. What do they all have in common?
Those were all countries designed to terrorize the United States, even though they really weren't going to actually do anything. They were just there to cause a tax sink from the American dollars. To fund
They all don't have centralized banking. Every one of those places does not have a bank that is controlled by the Rothschilds.
Right.
These deals that are being made are being put in place to achieve the ends of a one world government. When he starts telling you that we have world peace and safety, that's when you really need to be scared.
Well, that's what I, like the Antichrist, that's what I was fearing. But, if we know their game plan, like we know that the Rothschilds, they want to bring about revelations. They're talking about building the temple and all that stuff. They're trying to replay it. So they're trying to put in place, like the axis of evil are the places without a Federal Reserve Bank. It's hilarious. But when enough Goyim know their plan, they're not going to be able to pull it off.
No, they will pull it off. It's prophecy. To say that they won't do it is blasphemy.
No, they're trying to recreate it. They're trying to redo it. They're trying to LARP it, the Rothschilds. They are faking it. They're
All,
using the book. I
all,
don't think that they're the real.
all I know is that I know what's right, and I'm going with what's right. And if I'm being led astray or doing something different, like in the end, I can only be, when I get to judgment, and the Lord says, "What did you do?" I said, "I followed what I knew was right," and that's all I need to know, and I'll be fine. So regardless of what happens, that's the end of it. But the fact is, they are lying about stuff and that your world and all that, and I'd still rather know the truth in the end without having to wait to meet my maker to find out. I'd like to know now.
Why would we be following what's going on with QAnon?
What do you mean?
Well, why would we be following QAnon if Bob's view is that everything out here is satanic and there's no hope for the future, and we just got to wait around to be for Armageddon to come? Why would we even be listening to QAnon? Why would Bob be listening to QAnon?
Because
I know QAnon is a deceiver.
I know that QAnon has delayed the inevitable, and any delay is a day that I can live and be happy on this earth. So the longer I can live on the earth as a happy person with extra money in my pocket, allows me to take care of my family, etc., then I'm good with that.
Let me present a what if. Just consider this. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that all this time, now I'm not a full preterist. Okay, I don't know if you know what preterism is.
Praetor.
No, it's a form of belief system that everything was fulfilled in the first century that Jesus foretold. It was all fulfilled upon Jerusalem in the first century, and Jesus fulfilled it all when he died, and he came back to destroy Jerusalem just as he prophesied he would. So the book of Revelation was actually fulfilled. All them symbols and everything was fulfilled. It had fulfillment in what happened on Jerusalem. And we've been past the Bible since then because Jesus completed everything. But that doesn't mean good and evil haven't still existed, because we have to die to get to heaven. Flesh and blood cannot inherit God's kingdom, the Bible says. I've put together my own views examining different religions of so-called Christianity over time. And all this fear of Armageddon that so many religions, doomsday religions, preach, just causes fear and causes people not to act and not to get involved, and they're just sitting around waiting for death and destruction to come and to be taken off this earth. And I don't think that's personally a right view, and it stifles people
We're going to have bodies in the next life, and they're going to be immortalized bodies. They're not going to be bodies of spirit.
Yeah, I kind of believe that too. But I think that when we die, since the first century, Jesus started resurrecting all people that have died. And the good people are those that believe in Jesus, and those, I think everybody will get a chance eventually to live again. And I think that all happens as soon as we die, but that's my view right now.
Well, all men will be resurrected, and then the millennial day will occur. But before that, you have to have Armageddon, and after Armageddon, you have to have Christ return. So when Christ returns, he's supposed to come and deliver a perfect government for the world to follow, and then he'll be establishing that over the 1,000 years. That's what the millennial day is. A day in the Lord's time is 1,000 years.
Right. There's a lot of different views on that. That's the most popular one since, I think if you go back and look at the first century, the earliest Christians, they had more of a more of a fulfillment view of that time. But, that can all be debated. But still, QAnon does give us hope, and he's been right on everything that he's told us. And,
I just know if Hillary had been in there, it would have been 10 times worse, and we would already be in that process. And I'm not in any rush to die, so I mean,
if Hillary won, we'd all be hunted down right now because they have it all through NSA. We'd all be hunted down, thrown in those FEMA camps, and it'd be Nazi Germany 20-fold, 100-fold.
a lot of people believe that they're actually, I forgot what I was just going to say.
Probably the white hat generals leading things behind the scenes, and then Trump just does what they tell him. They're like, look, they probably have dirt on Trump. He's probably not perfect, and they're like, we're going to do this because we have to, because they know what they're doing is so evil. Like Andrew Breitbart tried to do it alone, and look what happened to him. They weren't ready for it because they still had Obama running everything. And Trump has replaced a lot of these scumbags. He has to purge the system before we could use it against them. There's too many corrupt judges and stuff to prosecute these people. They're so well embedded. And then, like, if you look to Europe, that would be our future. Like, you can't even use memes. You can't, anything politically incorrect could get you arrested. You get a knock on the door, and then they take you in. And we would be there with Hillary.
All I know is that we do have the world against us, so that's not a good thing, but that can change. The other thing is there's a lot of people that believe that we're supposed to have some good years of peace before the final day. Good and evil always comes in waves, and we've been having a lot of bad evil, like worse than we've ever had. So it would make sense that the wave is going to go higher in the other direction before it goes to the final. So we can still have a good wave of good times. We could have a 2 or 3 decades of peace. But then after that, it'll probably all fall apart, and we'll probably have the worst Armageddon that we've ever had. And it probably will be the end times. It doesn't mean that right now is the end time.
Yeah, according to Q, we haven't even begun to touch the knowledge of the evil that they know about.
Well, I mean, I don't get my religious stuff from Q. No offense.
Well, that's true. That's true. All you got to do is take a look around, like you say, at the child pedophile stuff that's being uncovered, the satanic.
Right. Like we know Trump's a Christian and he's related to that, but they're different Christian faiths as well, and some know more than others. And I'm not saying that he's wrong, but if he said that, I don't think that's quite accurate. I mean, I believe that there's going to be some good times before the end times. And we are in the end times. I'm not saying we're not in the end times, but before the end time, like the literal end time, I think we can still have good before the end. People, you don't have to just sit there and assume, oh, that's it, throw my hands up, Jesus, take the wheel. It doesn't mean that we're there yet.
So right.
We don't have to assume that we are.
Right. I think we are to do what we can do. That's what we were on this earth for, is to do all that we can do while we can do it and try to make a difference.
Yeah, and if it's not enough and it is the end time, then so be it. I can still stand before my God at Judgment Day and tell him, hey, I did all that I knew was right as well as I could. You're still good to go, so it's better to try than not to try.
Have you guys ever looked at those prophecies by Mark Taylor and then that Ken Clement?
I have not.
They're quite interesting. Quite interesting. They really tie in with this Q phenomenon, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that Ken Clement, clear back in 2007, I think it was. He started prophesying, and he just used the word God was going to raise up a Trump. And then later on, he mentioned him by name, Donald, and said that they would try to kill him, but God was not let him harm a hair on his head. That's funny tying it in with his hair. But anyway,
Have you guys? So we have a channel down below if you want to look. It's the Protocols of Illuminated Suns. For those on YouTube, I'll go ahead and go down to that. It talks about the plan. So if you really want to understand the whole Q plan and get kind of a sneak peek of what the idea and goal is about, it's in there. So it's under informational and then channel Protocols Illuminated Suns. And it's about the sons of the Golden Dawn. Not Donald Trump, but even though there's a picture of Donald. And in it, they have these protocols that describe the plan of how we're supposed to recover our country and world and what they plan to do. If you read it, you'll be enlightened on what Q is actually doing. And it all looked great until the last protocol. It's kind of weird because they talk about a shared consciousness and we're all like on drugs and stuff. So I don't quite buy into that part, but we can stop it. If it ever gets that far or goes that far, we could stop that. But up to Protocol 8, it sounds amazing. And it's actually a very brilliant plan if you read it. It even talks about how we gaslight the media on purpose, which is exactly what we're doing. We're letting the media take their worst shots, and people are seeing them for what they are. They're seeing how horrible it is, and people are coming around and they're waking up, which is part of the plan of this whole thing.
You give them enough rope to hang themselves.
Right. You gaslight them so they'll come out and do it. And then you, excuse me. Yeah, so you gaslight them, get them angry, they take their best shots, and then you can basically call them out for what they are and destroy them. So the final blow for the media is coming. It's very near. It's not going to last very much longer.
Hey Bob, when was that? When were those cards printed?
When the Illuminati card game came out.
I know, but what year was that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I believe it was in the 90s. You could look it up.
If you watch that Kim Clement video about the Trump prophecy, he says that Trump would not be a praying president when he came in, but he would be after he got in.
Well, Q was asking people to pray since the beginning. Since before in October he was. So I guess that was after he got elected.
So people can change, even rich people.
Let's say it was though. Let's say do you think one man really controls the show? What if it was like a military coup and he's like, "Look, Trump, you're going to do what we tell you to do." Irregardless of how he wants to feel. We know his son-in-law. We know Trump's son-in-law is no good, like Jared Kushner and a lot of the people Trump hangs around, there are a lot of Goldman Sachs people. I get your skepticism. And that's why I could never fully trust anybody because I don't know if they'll double cross us. They'll bring the economy back. So we got to keep everyone's feet to the fire. We can't just be bootlickers for anybody.
Right. We have to trust but verify.
That's why I didn't know if those cards, if they print a new series of cards every few years, maybe those are like a newer series of cards before, like maybe 2015 series, or if they were done like 20 years ago, those cards.
Yeah, it was. They're old. It's the same predictive programming they've been using for a long time.
Did you know 9/11? They had it on Super Mario Brothers. I wrote an article about 9/11. They had the buildings burning down. It was like 93 or something. So it was well before it happened. And it looked just like it. There was no flames, but they were disintegrating the Twin Towers into smoke. So yeah, they like to mock us. That's what I'm telling you. Like the shape of the earth, they put it right on the UN flag to make fun of us, thinking we'll never figure it out. We're too stupid. And they made all the dimensions of the earth 666. They rub it right in our face.
The other thing too to consider with Armageddon and the last times, they prophesied Armageddon. It's going to be everyone versus Israel, basically, and what that basically means is Israel is not the state of Israel or the people of Israel, but it's all those who believe in God. It's going to be those who don't believe in God versus those who do. And who's a lot of those people that really don't believe in God? We've got a lot of Muslims out there, no offense, but you don't, and you're coming into the country to invade just like it's happening in Europe. And that, I think, is all being set up right now, but we've also slowed it down by slowing down immigration. And that's another thing that Trump has done. And is it inevitable? Can we stop it permanently? Maybe not. I mean, that might be the end for us, when that happens. But that doesn't have to happen now. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. But it could happen the day after. I mean, you just have to think, things are still being set up towards the end times. It's going to happen. We're going to be outnumbered at some point. It's getting down to that point. So those are things to consider.
Future proves the past.
Larry on YouTube asked what happened to all the fun Flat Earth hangouts. This says Ian.
This one got a little bit sidetracked maybe. Like, I don't think Bob is on board with the flat earth, but I was just trying to show him some proofs. If you wanted an explanation, there's a lot. I mean, it's going to take more than just one.
Are you talking to me?
No, I don't know if there was another guy here. He wasn't on board with flat earth. Maybe not you.
That was Politichat. He went off.
Yeah, he bailed out. He had the same looking picture as you.
Yeah.
We should have did more groundwork, had more proofs before we invited everybody. That's okay. I'll get a bunch of stuff in here. Hey, whatever happened with that fool in Tucson? That guy that said he was with the veterans and he wasn't. That LARPing Louis.
I haven't heard of him.
Lewis. It was Lewis something. He said he was with the veterans for homeless veterans in Tucson. That was where like the Jonathan Rothschild is the mayor of that city, and he owns that CEMEX plant where they were smuggling people allegedly. Well, they were smuggling, but as far as the rape rooms or whatever they said, I don't know if that proved out to be true. There was Craig Sawyer was on board, and then he kind of bailed out. That Lewis guy, what do you call him? I forget his last name, but he gave his last name and everything. He had like 3 names: Lewis, Arthur, Michael, something. We're just trying to get a lot of people to come to the game, and then whatever you have, any kind of proofs or anything that we may not know, don't be embarrassed to share it, because nobody's gonna mock you if you believe the earth is flat or whatever your beliefs are.
Yeah, I've been jumping around too many discords. That's why I finally decided to start my own, because I get some people have some truth somewhere and some people have some truth others, but I want a place where it's just all truth. Like, you've got free energy proofs, we've got channels for that. If you've got levitation tech or anything like that, or ways to create levitation, we've got a room for that. We've got flat earth. I believe all these things are possible. I've been watching so a lot of stuff on free energy lately, and they have been ways that people have been able to generate motors or create motors, but not a generator. And that's what it takes to create free energy, because typically when you bring up anything you make to generate, or any kind of motor you create, it also creates a generator which takes it and negates it, and that's not free energy. But there are ways to get things to like take off spontaneously, and I think it kind of involves levitation with using magnets and stuff to actually make it occur. So we're all right on the stumbling block of actually figuring this out ourselves and actually building it, not even waiting for like Trump to release the Nikola Tesla documents that his uncle got. because we're really close to it.
Well, and can you guys hear me?
Yep, you sound good.
Okay, cool. And free energy doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be mechanical components that wear out and have to be replaced. It just means that when you replace them, then you're producing free energy again. You know what I'm saying? And like you were saying with the magnets, magnets don't hold their magnetism indefinitely,
Right.
or so.
Well, nothing's truly free. It's true you can keep spinning, but the thing is the Earth is so large and it's so charged that like we could use it. We can use the negatively charged Earth and then the positively charged air above us. And if we can use to manipulate that, we can actually take energy out of that, and we'd have all the energy we'd ever need. We wouldn't need oil based or anything like that. We can just pull it from the Earth
Right.
itself.
And there's evidence that ancient cultures were harnessing that through different methods. I mean, the pyramids there's a lot of speculation about it, but there was something going on, with in the ancient times. I mean, they want us to think that the ancients were just primitive, but I think they had probably a culture that was, or at least at the higher echelons, they were far more advanced than we are. We're kind of in a for-profit culture when it comes to the corporatism and everything. And yeah, it's just disgusting, really. I mean, we're moving the wrong direction, as a culture. But I feel like the fact that we get to come into these platforms and talk about these things proves that that there are people out there that can see it, and we're moving in the right direction as far as this goes. And it's going to take a long time for everyone to really see it. And when you go out into the world and you talk to people every day, it can be discouraging, and you think, "Oh, this is never going to happen." But
I know they think you're crazy. I talked to a guy who worked for a nuclear plant.
It's a long process.
I talked to a guy who worked for a nuclear plant. He's like, "You can't make free energy. You can't take it. There's no way you can do it. There's no device you can build that'll make use of the Earth." I'm like, I don't know. I think you can. I mean, like people. I think you really need to try. Like there are ways and ingenious ways that just haven't been thought up of. You just have to mechanically do it. We know the CIA for the last 8 decades has been using that. They have, all those UFO sightings people saw in the 50s and 60s. Those were our technology. They're not alien race technology. They are our technology. We built those things. There are videos of people building them that have come out since it's been declassified. A lot of that stuff in the 50s was declassified. You can read about how it works with it's just 2 superfluids that spin around. They also have some that just use magnets and like a magnet spin wheel and some coils around it, like C coils. And what you do is you spin around to a certain point, you build a toroid. It builds an invisible toroid that you can't see, and it gets it to a 0 point. And once you're at a 0 point, you can then go up, down, left, right, do whatever you want to do. You're in sync. You're in sync with the Earth's frequency. But putting it to practice, we know how it works in theory. We just putting it to practice is what's kind of difficult. The actual design and the mechanics.
Well, it's even more difficult when you have someone that works at a nuclear plant that's paying an electric bill that's like, no, that's impossible. My boss told me, or they told me in college they couldn't do it, so I know it's true.
So they don't try it, and then if you ask for help from them, they won't even give you a second shot.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, do you want to pay an electric bill, a $200 electric bill every month for the rest of your life? Is that your goal? Is that what life's about? Come on, man.
Well, there are ways to get free energy, like on a small scale with those magnets. I posted a video, but also the jet engines. Me and Nikitas were looking into these jet engines that don't seem to have enough capacity in the wings to hold the fuel. And once you get the engines lit, they maintain themselves.
Yeah, the air is compressed and there's nitrogen mixed in with it. That could potentially be ignited as well, and the engines can make use of that.
I just posted a video about rockets going up and hitting the dome. It's kind of interesting.
Have you seen the Go Fast rocket? That's the common one a lot of people have seen.
Yeah.
So I've got a picture diagram that I made of this that also kind of helps prove the flat Earth. I'm going to post it in.
You know, another thing is when they take the time-lapse photos of the sky at night and you see the stars making a complete circle around the North Pole, the North Star. How do you explain that on a globe?
So if you look at this diagram here that I created, for the YouTube viewers, I'm going to open it up. But I suggest you guys expand it.
Is this live on YouTube right now?
It is, yes.
On what channel?
I'll post it here.
Cool, man. I'll sub you.
Yeah, please do. We're trying to get off. So here we have a picture of the Go Fast rocket. After it hit the dome, it stopped. It was spinning around in a circle like super, super fast. And then something stopped it from spinning. And then it literally just starts falling slowly. So it like basically hits the top and that's it. And it starts falling. And as it's falling, it's spinning. The side camera is just kind of spinning around. And this is a still shot. And there is the moon. And look how tiny it is. So if you're really looking at the moon here, have you ever seen the moon from the Earth that small? That'd be my first question.
No, never.
Now, if the moon was, what, 260,000 miles away, they say it is, it would never appear that small if we've never seen it. If it's that far away, it would never look that small to us. But the fact that it's close to the Earth, it would look like that if it was coming around, like spinning around in a circle around the Earth. Now, the reason this is important because the day that the Go Fast rocket took place was July 14th, 2014 at 1500 UTC, which is like 11 a.m. in the morning. So it shot off in Nevada, USA, where it shot out in the desert. So there's a cool site called SolarSystemScope.com. Although I believe it to be fake, the idea of it's pretty cool and neat, you know, if you're into the solar system stuff. It shows where they would have calculated all the planets in the solar system, the moon, the Earth, the sun, and everything. And it is accurate to their data. So according to the Live 3D model, you shouldn't be able to see the moon at all at this time and time and date. Because if you look at where the moon is, it's behind the Earth. And you're coming straight out where Nevada is. So even if you went to the tall part of the Earth on a sphere model, it would have hit the dome or whatever, and then as it's spinning, it would not see the moon even in the distance because it would be behind the Earth. You physically would not be able to see the moon at the time this was taken. So now if you scroll down on the bottom of the picture, there's timeanddate.com for the same date, July 14th, 2014, which actually matches up with the solar scope picture. So if you look at Australia, that's where the moon should be. It's right off the Australian coast, eastern coast. And it's at night, so it's behind the Earth. You would not be able to see it. Nevada is over here, and it's in daylight. The reason this is dark, this dark arch is there, is because this is the part of the Earth that you cannot see because you're in the lighted area. So this literally proves that the fact that you can even see the moon at all proves that the moon is not going around the Earth like they say it is, but it's going on top of the Earth in a circle. So that moon in this picture here, the snapshot, if you go back to the top, it's actually over Australia. And that's how far your eye could see. Your eye can see that moon. You're over Nevada and you're looking at the moon over in Australia. So that gives you kind of an idea of how much of the Earth you're actually visibly seeing, but then disappears into the horizon. Because of the law of perspective, your view disappears in the horizon just like you would in a hotel hallway, where all the corners come into a single point of view. The Earth does the same thing when you're that high up.
Yeah, and not to mention that if it was over Australia, you wouldn't be able to see through the globe to see the moon. You know,
Yep.
That's part of it. I mean, if it was a globe, you wouldn't see the moon because it would be, the globe would be between you and the moon.
Now, if you went to ask somebody in Australia right now, this is another point to drive home. They would see that they would see the moon really big, and it would be turned slightly from the direction that you would see it in Nevada, because in Nevada you're always going to see the moon's face a certain way. But if you go to Australia, the moon's face is going to be turned. That's because of the position that it is. Australians will always see the moon's face in the position that it's in. It's never going to turn. But if you come to Nevada, we won't see the moon's face. It'll be turned for us because as it goes around in a circle, we'll always see the same face depending on where you're at. But if you change your location on the Earth, you'll see a different face because of the position of the moon spinning around.
Well, we all see the same face of the moon, but
it's turned.
You see it in a different position. Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, in Australia, you'll see it in a different position, but you see the same side of the moon. If there is a side, I'm not convinced that it's spherical. They claim, in the heliocentric model that it is a sphere and it does rotate, but it's totally locked with the gravitational pull of the Earth, and it spins just at the right speed where we always see the same side of it.
Yep. And so that's a good flat Earth proof. There is another YouTube video you guys can watch, and I'll recommend it. We have it here in our Flat Earth Proofs channel. It actually describes what I just said, and it's the guy that discovered that. He goes over it, and that's what convinced him as well, ultimately. There's a lot of videos in here for you guys to watch in the Flat Earth Proofs channel. This is the rocket here video, the rocket hitting the flat Earth dome. For those of you who are watching YouTube, that's the actual rocket video. But the globe is dead. This is the one. The moon proves flat Earth, synthetic flat Earth. So this video here is highly recommended to watch. It's the one with the nice, pretty moon, full moon, and over the ocean. He'll go through the whole steps of the video to go fast, and then he'll freeze frame it. He'll go to the video globe. So if you don't want to do it all yourself, you can watch the video. He does it for you, or you can do it yourself. I actually did it myself to get those screenshots, and I made that picture. This is a good place to look.
Have you ever talked to Ian? He's in the chat and on YouTube. He's a cool dude, man. He's listening. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's a cool dude. He said he doesn't use Discord, but I wish he'd come in here because he's got some good stuff.
Yeah, we're always ready to hear anything you got. So we like to hear new stuff. So if you got it, bring it on.
Are there people here calling us Zionist shills because of flat Earth?
No, not yet, at least.
Maybe I'm just reading it wrong.
I think Ron's just playing around and having fun with it, but
No, I'm talking about David Wilcox and those other fags. Maxwell and Wilcox, those guys. Those are like secret space program, all that BS.
Oh, okay.
you want to see an Illuminati card? So if you blow it up, it reads, "People laugh, but the flat earthers know something. For their action, you may roll 2 dice. If your roll is equal or less than the number of places you control, the flat earthers' weird alternate geology has led them to a gold strike, and you may draw as many plot cards as the number you rolled." So the Illuminati card there is pretty much trying to tell you that we know something. So the Illuminati know.
They know, the Illuminati know that we know.
Well, yeah, they put it in their card game.
Is that their card game? I'm still trying to figure out what the hell they mean by, and it came out in the early 90s, this Illuminati card game. Again, it's interesting they would say that specifically. Everyone laughs, but the flat earthers know something. I mean, I didn't want to know this. I wasn't looking for it when I found it. It's just, but it kind of was like I think you, Nick. How do I pronounce her name? Nikitas.
Yeah, Nikitas.
That it was like a large puzzle piece in this puzzle I've been trying to put together for a long time. So yeah.
Here for the YouTubers, I put up a picture that shows a traditional jet stream on the left that you'd see on the weather station. So, most jet streams don't flow like that in any kind of like lab situation or in a creative lab. So, like, why would it do that on a globe? Like, it doesn't even make sense. So they know the wind goes that way, and they record it with their weather instrumentation. But we know naturally it wouldn't just like stop and then start in another direction like that. But if you look on the right, it on a flat Earth model, it actually would explain the flow a lot better. It would just go circular like, which would make a lot more sense. Especially if the sun is going around in a perfect circle like that. Just the heat alone can create hot wind and cold wind, which could create um, wind. When you put hot temperature and cold temperature air, it creates wind, and it would do it in the direction that the sun is moving, which is heating up the earth. Maybe one day our weather channel will show that.
Well, it's become obvious at this point, flat Earth is not going away. If they were going to prove me wrong, they would have already done it.
Well, if it was a LARP,
3 years now, almost 3 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have
It's
been put away.
It's part of the Great Awakening.
Yep, I think it is. A lot of people are scared to talk about flat Earth on the other channel. That's why we made our own. We're getting free thinkers who are not afraid to talk about things that are taboo subjects. Like you talk about flat Earth and people think you're crazy, amongst some people.
Well, and it's sad to say, but a lot of the people on the Chans, the Chan mentality, the 4chan, the 8chans, they are absolutely against flat Earth. There are flat earthers who go on the Chans and post flat Earth stuff, so you may see that, but they always get talked down and yelled at really bad. They honestly believe that it's Jewish shills that are trying to cause a psyop to misunderstand and throw people off. But they don't realize that people actually really do believe this.
And it's really the other way around, isn't it?
Right,
Go
it
in,
is.
no.
Because is they don't want to fathom that God exists. They don't want to admit it, and they're so
Right.
scientific. They think that science and God can't coexist together, and that's not true. It actually goes hand in hand.
Well, actually, what they're doing is they're trying to use pseudoscience to prove that God doesn't exist, because if they don't have their gravity and their spinning balls and outer space and all that crap, then they can't have their evolution theory.
That explains why there's so much pedophilia and satanic worship around the earth with the elites, and is because they don't want to believe God exists, so they're therefore not accountable to any kind of moral standards.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I know a lot of atheists that are very moral and are really good friends of mine. I mean, I don't like to use that argument because that's a generalization of a lot of people that
well, not
really nice
not
people.
all. I didn't mean all atheists, because there's atheists that still have good morals, maybe better than some.
Satanist instead of atheist. More like a Satanist or Luciferian, more so than someone who's just agnostic or atheist.
Right. That's what I was referring to, is the Luciferian, satanic, pedophilia, worshiping type of thing.
Yeah, but I actually haven't met any of those either. I mean, as far as personally talking to people that are against flat Earth, that's not their reasoning. They're actually, you can tell by their response that they're scared of what it is it's a form of cognitive dissonance, but it's but it's not actually that. It's just like they can't fathom how huge that lie could be, because they think that all these hundreds of thousands of people would have to be in on it, but when you really look into it, it's not that fucking hard to dupe the public.
Nobody wants to believe that they've been duped.
So here real quick for the YouTubers, we got a picture of Jupiter, and there on the right is the photo that they released showing the northern pole of Jupiter, and you can see how fake it actually is. For one, it's the same. This picture doesn't fully illustrate it, but if you look at this actual image here with the storm patterns that are in here, they actually match the same storm patterns and images exactly of previous Jupiter pictures when there was nothing in the North Pole. So that alone can actually prove that they just reused an image of Jupiter and they didn't actually take a snapshot of Jupiter with the poles in action.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people say that they, like, I've looked through the telescope and I can see the storms of Jupiter moving around. No, you haven't. Show me a picture of Jupiter that doesn't look like that, like Jupiter looking like that with the storm, what they call the storm cloud, or with the eye of Jupiter.
Well, they say the eye.
It's always on the same side. It doesn't spin around. It's always there.
Right. They always say it's there, but everything else moves on it. But you can go back and
it does obviously have what they call moons. I mean, sometimes they go this way, and sometimes it looks like it goes behind Jupiter. I can't say that it doesn't. I don't know what they are, what the moons of Jupiter are. I don't know what they are. There is obviously some small lights that move around Jupiter in that area, but when they claim that Jupiter is spinning and you can't see the storm sometimes, I call bullcrap. You always see it. Every time you see Jupiter, if you look in the telescope and you get a really good crisp view of Jupiter, you will see that eye, that storm right there.
Yeah, and the other thing to mention too is they spent hundreds of billions of dollars and $100 billion in like the whole like satellites, that Hubble and everything that looks out, supposedly all this stuff on this technology, just to give us the same repeat. Like they didn't even spend real good money on designing a new CGI. Like they even reused the old CGI. I mean, that's how awful it is. And then we've got this one that was zero budget, and we added the same, just as good of effects as they did.
Oh yeah, man! I remember when they came out. They said, "Oh, we captured the aurora borealis on Jupiter," and then that's what they put up was a picture of Jupiter with just some blue circles. The same picture with some blue circles on it, dude. I was like, this was right after I found flat Earth. I mean, this when that came out. It was like 2015, and they said, oh, they captured. This was on the news, you know, and they captured the aurora borealis on Jupiter, and this is what they gave us. That freaking cracked me. I was like barrel laughing, you know, at that shit. It's just funny, man. I mean, they have the same picture with some blue circles drawn around the supposed north pole of it. That's hilarious, man.
That's interesting about Monster Drink. I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, it's Vav Vav Vav. It's number 6 in the Hebrew alphabet.
Well, it's obvious they love the number 6. And they love it in 3 6s, you know? It's like this can't be a coincidence. Same thing with the moon and the sun being the same size. Like we observe them to be the same size. If you took a set of calipers and you measured it from arm's length and it said 1 inch and you aim it at the full moon and it's 1 inch, that can't be a coincidence. Like one is exactly 400 times further away. That's why they appear to be the same size.
Yeah, but how do they know which one is further away? If, you know, if all we can tell from the ground is that they appear to be approximately the same angular diameter, how can we tell how far away they are? You know, maybe you claim to know a distance to one of them, but if they're the same angular diameter in the sky, how would you know which one is further?
Right. That's a good one. Well, obviously the sun, because the sun gets eclipsed by the moon. They say the sun is the
That's a presumption.
Yeah. Well, they say it's the center of the solar system. We just had a
right. Yeah, there's a presupposition. Yeah. All of it's presuppositional. Every argument they make is presuppositional. It has to be.
When I took pictures and videos of that eclipse, I didn't see the moon approaching or going away. I didn't see the craters along the edge. I was looking for all those details. I couldn't see anything. It must have been something else besides the moon that eclipsed the sun. You know, when I was taking photos of it. And another strange thing, I could see the eclipse through a welding helmet. And then when I took pictures of it with my cell phone camera, it appeared to be the full sun. It didn't appear to be eclipsed at all. So the sensor on the camera was picking up a full sun without an eclipse.
Yeah, I tried to take images with my cell phone and it didn't show anything. But when I looked at it with my eyes, I didn't look very long, but then I blinked and I could see, you know, see the eclipse. You know, I could see it if I looked a little bit, but I didn't look too long because it was shit. I'm in Arkansas, man. It was pretty bright, you know, because it was just like just afternoon, I think, and so it was pretty high in the sky. It was pretty bright, so couldn't look at it for too long. But yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I'd blink and I could see it for like an hour after. It's like, damn. Yeah, I saw the eclipse, and then my mom took a picture of she went outside and seen the shadows of the leaves on the trees, and you can see the eclipse on the I've got the picture. I'll get on my phone. Maybe if I can here in a minute, I'll get my phone and send you guys the pictures, because I told her to send it to me because I forgot about it until she just told me about it today. She was going through some pictures and she was like, hey, I took this picture of the leaves. You can see the eclipse in the shadow of the leaves. Pretty cool.
Oh, you could. Okay, yeah. Some people were saying you could see the shadow of the eclipse on the ground, but when they tried to get pics, like I gave out a welding helmet for my friend to use. His camera didn't pick it up. You could see it with your naked eye plus the welding helmet, but my camera sensor wasn't picking it up on both cameras, my P900 and my cell phone camera. I'm like, what's going on? Why am I still seeing an uneclipsed sun? And it didn't appear to get darker. Usually, like if the sun was being eclipsed, it should be, I was in like an 80% eclipse. It should have been 80% darker, as if like the moon went behind the clouds. It should have got cooler outside and it should have been substantially darker. But it didn't get darker or cooler. It was still hot.
Yeah, I was in like 90% range where I'm at, so it did get significantly darker for a little bit, just for a few minutes, a couple minutes.
Oh, you were closer to totality.
Yeah, I was about 90%.
Yeah, I was 80%. I'm in Detroit, so you're a lot further south than me. You know what's funny? My friend on the 4th of July he's in Tampa, and he was asking us, why aren't you guys doing your fireworks? I'm like, well, it's not dark yet. And I think it was like 9:30 in Tampa, and we're both in the Eastern time zone, right? So we're in the same time zone, but the sun sets earlier in Florida, about an hour, because it was like he's like the sun set about a half hour ago. It was 9:30 his time. Even at 10:30, I could see a distinct sky, like the twilight. I could see that, like you could see the transition between the daylight and the night. I got a really cool picture. I'll put it up in the chat.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, it's like someone was asking about time zones in the 24/7 Discord, Flat Earth Discord thing. And you know, it's kind of hard for us to really say, you know, that we have a model or a map that we can follow. But you know, a lot of people don't like the AE map, and there's a lot of people calling people shills because they look at the AE. But really, you have 20. It is a 24-hour map of the longitude, and every longitudinal line is 1 hour. And from where I stand, I can see the sun rising to my northeast, and then it appears to travel in the southern direction, and then I watch it set in the northwest. So it looks like it's going in a circle around me, and that
like this time of year, like at the 4th of July, you'll notice that it's setting in like the northwest instead of due west. It'll be much northern in the summertime. Like you see the pic I just posted of the 4th of July. If it was going over the edge, it should go dark uniformly. It's going to go dark because it's going over the edge. You wouldn't see this taper transition from darkness to light. See how it's pitch black where the fireworks are, and it tapers to lightness to the right?
Yeah.
That's off to the northwest, that light. And it stayed twilight till about 11:30 at night. And I'm not that far north.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, it was not this distinctive. This is about 10:30. See where the firework is the firework is at?
You can still see sunlight at 10:30 p.m.
Yep. And the firework was it was due west. So that should have been, you know, how it sets in the west. It should have set right where you see that firework. But you see the transition. See how transition it tapers from lightness to dark, and you could see the blueness, like that light blue. You could see that to like the northwest, way up until about 11. You could see a faint twilight. Now, if it went over the edge of a ball, it would just go out uniformly, evenly, right, left to right. It would just be even because it's going over the edge. You wouldn't see this transition zone.
So I don't know if you guys know about Wernher von Braun, right? He was the top rocket scientist of our time. Practically invented rocket science. On this gravestone I just posted in chat, it has Psalms 19:1, and when you look at it, that one is, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So basically, he essentially knew that the earth was flat and had a dome above it. He knew what the firmament was because he had hit it several times with his own rockets. It was the bane of his existence because he couldn't get past it. And he had that put on his tombstone. And that's put there for us to see. That was his contribution with his dying wish, was to tell us the truth. A lot of men like to tell the truth that hold deep secrets on their deathbeds.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, we've already showed a bunch of freaking 6-pointed stars and shit in here, but it makes you kind of wonder, you know, what were the goal of these Nazi scientists, and what is the truth about what was really going on in Germany, and what happened with World War II, You know, if you question anything, then you're just called, you know,
Well,
freaking Joe
we
Basher and
know
all
what
that kind of
happened,
shit.
really. You know, all of the secrets of Tesla were taken away by the Nazis and were used by Nazi Germany. They were experimenting on it, and they were using people to experiment on it. And then they took some of that after the war. They were chased out. They went to Antarctica. They had bases in Antarctica, and they took their fast ships over there, their levitating ships. They had the ships there. We gathered some of that technology when we went over there and started building them in the 50s. That's why we have all the UFOs in Roswell, etc. So the Nazis did have levitating ships.
Yeah, that's what Admiral Byrd talked about that, and they went from horizon to horizon like in seconds. They could cross the horizon, these ships, whatever they were. They looked like a flying bell.
Here's kind of a diagram I made. So if you run into somebody and you're trying to explain to them about flat Earth, and they'll say, well, the Earth could be round, but the water could still be flat. So there's no curvature. If you explain this to them on a curved ball, this is on an Earth or globe theory, it doesn't work like this on a sphere because water can't be flat because what you would have is a center point of gravity, which means if you go from that center point to another part of the lake, there would be more. The lines are longer on the outer ends, and that would be more weight. So that weight would come down and would push the middle up, creating a curve. So there would actually be a curve and bend in the water on a center point of gravity.
Yeah, but the Earth is so big,
It doesn't matter.
so huge. I'm just playing.
I know, because that's when you show them the Earth curvature calculator and you prove to them that it should have that much curvature. And then you've basically killed their argument. So you guys can download that and use that if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
Why does Aleister Crowley's demon look just like a great alien? You guys ever wondered that?
I don't know if I believe in the alien thing or not. I think my personal belief on that, and I obviously don't have any sauce or any proof of this, but I feel like there are lands beyond Antarctica, and I think there are human-like people on those lands, but they have if you think about it, they would have a sun that would go around, but it wouldn't be there would be a lot less daylight time than they would have nighttime, which means they'd get a lot less vitamin D than we would. And over the course of 6,000 years, that could probably play a number on the people that lived over there, because that's how long we believe the Earth has been around, or at least people have been on the Earth. So if that was the case, I think that those people may actually look a little grayer. I don't know if they would look exactly like those pictures, but we do know, like from Hillary Clinton emails, John Podesta emails, things that have been intercepted from WikiLeaks, etc., with Podesta talking to John Glenn about the grays, the quote grays that have 0 point energy and free energy. You know, they supposedly have this technology, and they may not get enough vitamin D, and over thousands of years, they may have turned into something like that. So that's just kind of a personalized theory. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's the only thing that really kind of makes sense that would explain something like that. Because I just don't, right at this point, I don't believe in aliens. There's been no real evidence to prove it otherwise. But there is a rational explanation for why there could be like gray looking humanoid beings that are from this planet. Kind of to build on that idea, here's a picture of Earth as you would imagine it according to the Egyptians. This actually came from the pyramids on a wall. And it didn't look quite like this, but they designed it like this and they talked about it like this. and they even have the outer lands named. These were named. The sun was Sol, Set was the moon, and then Anubis was the dark moon. And then when you cross the Antarctic border, you have more oceans, and you have more lands, and you have another sun and another moon. The difference is the sun would only heat up in the area that it's in on an outer ring. So anyone living on those lands out there would get far less sun than they would nighttime, which means they'd get far less vitamin D than we do on our Earth.
But if that were the case, and a lot of a lot of people speculate, that the say like the AE map or the Gleason map with a dome over it, and we have the sun moving around. And you have the Antarctic wall, and it melts. It melts everything except for where the extent of the the southernmost part of it, and that's why it's ice. And then you have another sun over there. Well, wouldn't there be more? How could those lands exist if that sun took so long to come around? You know what I mean? Wouldn't that there would be more ice? I'm not saying I disagree with that map. I mean, there may be another way it works. Or maybe two suns. I don't know. I have no idea.
It could be larger and more intense, and it could keep it melted long enough for it to come back around.
I don't know, but it'd be dark for a long freaking time, man, if that sun is way the hell over
right,
there.
Or it could actually spin a lot faster than ours. But even
it could, yeah.
But even at a faster spin, it's enough to keep it melted, but the night would still be longer than the day, always, in that kind of circumstance.
Yeah, it's stuff I've thought. I've seen this map, and I've seen another one with another band around it as well. I mean, you've probably seen that map too, right?
Yeah, there is. But the other band, the one with the other one that goes further around, I actually have that, but it actually is just the same land masses repeated.
Oh, okay.
So it's not, they don't really know, and they don't actually have names for it, but they speculate that it may go out. The Egyptians supposedly sailed out there and got all this information in their time. That's how they knew about it, and they named the land.
Well, who's to say that our governments aren't out there right now?
Well, that's what I
That's
believe.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like you were saying, there could be other people on other lands, and actually, I think what we call the elite families here could be controlled by these other entities or these other forms of humans, and they're taking orders from them to keep us in the center lands, and we're pretty much just the miners.
I don't know about control, but maybe working with them, or they may have conquered one of those lands out there and are living on it.
I think they used to be here and they left.
Well, think about this. So think about this, right? So what if? Because it doesn't make sense that they would chemtrail everywhere, right, and just poison all the air everywhere, because they've got to live here too, right? Or do they? Do they have a place they can go and live once they've killed all of us off and poisoned us all off, right? You don't crap in your own backyard.
You think they may have used their tunnel boring machines to go underneath the dome?
Yes. I don't even know if there's an inner dome and an outer dome, or if it's just one solid dome. I mean, judging by the height, I think there's just an ice wall. And I think once you go past that ice wall, there's more lands. Because that's when Admiral Byrd in the 50s, he's a Navy admiral. You can read all about it.
Yeah, I know what you're getting ready to say. I watched those videos, and that's what he indicated. There was land masses on the other side.
Right, and he sailed right through it to find it.
You know what's funny is I just watched a video about it. You know how you have a sometimes you have a dual rainbow. You have like a double rainbow, one over the top. It could be like there's two firmaments. There could be a firmament over us, and then a second one where that second ice ring is. And then see the third one. I don't know about the third one. That seems speculative, but they both seem a bit speculative. But why is there two rainbows?
Well, the Bible, doesn't the Bible mention that there's like 3 heavens or something like that?
Oh, like the third heaven, seventh heaven. Yeah, I've heard that.
That would indicate layers of the between the firmament, I would think.
So the other thing too is, I don't know if you've seen that movie Lost or that TV show Lost. If you haven't, you should definitely go watch it again after becoming a flat earther.
I haven't seen it, but I would like to.
So there's a lot.
Lost.
Yeah,
Lost.
It's called Lost. It's actually, the ending's terrible, but the show is great. But there's a moving island, and they're supposedly on this island, and it moves from place to place. And Thoth it's called the moving island. So if you look at that picture there that I sent, the land of Thoth is a moving island. So they knew about this island. It's like an island that floats. It's apparently not like tethered to the earth.
Have you ever read the books of Enoch?
Yes.
They clearly indicate a flat earth and other worlds beyond the one we're in, the domed world we're in.
Yeah, also the LDS have the Pearl of Great Price, and if you read that, it's an updated Moses scroll. So it was a copy of the Moses scroll from the original Book of Moses, and you can look at that, and it talks about going through multiple, or the Lord showed, like Moses in a dream, multiple earths, and talked about multiple earths. He didn't necessarily mention a flat earth, but he just said multiple. There are multiple earths like under this one.
Yeah, why don't they turn the Hubble telescope around and give us a real picture of the Earth if it's so far out there and so powerful to see these other planets? Why can't they just show us a picture of Earth?
Because they don't want us to know.
Exactly.
Look at all the money that gets spent covering this up. Like, it was never even thought about. Like, everyone just assumed it was a globe. No one even gave it a thought. They're like, well, this is the dimensions. Everyone had a globe. We hit universal pictures. We get hit with all this predictive programming, all this symbolism and brainwashing. So for people to break out of their cognitive dissonance takes a lot. Some people will never break out, and some people break out a little quicker. But when you put all these proofs in one spot, say, okay, do this experiment yourself, right? Get a container of water. It could be a fish aquarium. It could be a glass of water. That surface will be level with the ocean or a lake or any large body of water. Do it yourself.
So here we have the Suez Canal. It's connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, and it's 100 miles long without any locks, making the water an uninterrupted continuation of the two seas. When constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and the water surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles. If the Earth were a sphere, there should have been 6,666 feet of curvature over the course of 100 miles. So there's all these tests you can do. There's like laser tests you can do that prove there's literally no curvature. So all that tells us, though, is that the Earth is at least, it may not be flat, but it's at least 1,000 times larger. So it's either flat or it's 1,000 times larger. Because if it was 1,000 times larger, we wouldn't be able to measure any curvature over the distance of 100 miles.
Exactly.
But we know it's level. We could prove it's level.
Right, but if the Earth is 46,000 miles around at its widest, we should easily be able to measure curvature over 100 miles. A lot of curvature, in fact.
And just the fact that gravity, which is just a theory, there's no way that water would, as heavy as water is, and yet things float up. It don't make sense. It's just density that keeps the water down, and on a globe it just doesn't make sense. The whole idea of gravity, even.
So have you seen that experiment with different things floating, like oil, dish soap, tomato? They all had a different density, and they all separated into different layers of liquid.
Yeah, there's some kind of gas or liquid that somebody did an experiment, and it allowed it to float. Man, I wish I could find that and repost it.
It's sulfur hexafluoride. It's a dense gas. It's like
that's it.
Yeah. and you could take a balloon filled with air and float it on this stuff because it's the opposite of helium. It's like 6 times more dense than air, and helium's 6 times lighter than air.
That's what
So
they think the top is made out of, right?
I heard that that's what's up in the upper atmosphere, and what's keeping it up there is electromagnetism because it's not subjected to the same electromagnetic. They use it as an insulator when they do a switch, when they turn a big power switch, so they don't have an electrical short and fry it out like the contacts. They swamp it with sulfur hexafluoride when they switch them.
Isn't that wasn't that connected to that rocket that supposedly hit the dome and why it was so slow about coming down?
Yeah, like that kerplunk. It sounded like it was in liquid.
Yeah, exactly.
It made a plop sound. It does act a bit like liquid. And when they poured it out onto those candles, it acted just like a wave of liquid going across the table.
Yeah, that was really neat.
So here we have a picture of Stanley Kubrick on the film set of the moon. And then he was later quoted, "I perpetrated a huge fraud on the American public, which I am now about to detail, involving the United States government and NASA, that the moon landings were faked, that the moon landings all were faked, and that I was the person who filmed it. Stanley Kubrick, film director."
A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
That's a good movie. I think the guy had him on the SGT report. He interviewed that guy, but he wasn't a flat earther. He believes they faked the moon landing, but he doesn't believe the earth is flat.
Well, he didn't have all the knowledge that we have.
Right. He was just on the aspect of filming it. He just thought they didn't have technology to get there, and they just faked it.
Right. He didn't think that, like, for any reason, nothing directed him towards the fact that the Earth might be flat. And here's a picture. Here's a picture of the studio where it was filmed. It's called Elstree Studios.
How about the guy that tried to interview the astronauts that claimed to be on the moon, and none of them would swear on the Bible that they've been on the moon?
Yeah, because they didn't want to damn their souls.
Exactly.
Didn't Buzz Aldrin punch him in the face?
He threatened to.
It's a good thing. Buzz, I seen that the guy that is like 6'6" and Buzz Aldrin's like 5'4". He looked like a little midget next to that guy.
Did you see the Trump video where he was first sitting at the desk there with all the NASA people before he gave this speech the other night? I'd like to look it up and post it here. And he had looked like a little flat Earth. What do they call it? It's a what it would look like with a glass dome over it, sitting on his desk. And when he started mentioning about going to the moon again and land on the moon, Buzz Aldrin kind of rolled his eyes in the background.
Hey, did you see the hand gesture Trump made, like an arch? He made a hand gesture like he was creating an arch, like an air gesture. He was talking about the moon or the Space Patrol. Yeah,
Space Force.
Exactly, at Minnesota. Yeah, he really did. It was so obvious that gesture never wouldn't fit in with anything else. It just caught me right away.
Yeah, here we have on the YouTube we have a picture of the Red Hot Chili Peppers with the quote, "Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement." A lot of music holds truth because it's people, musicians, Hollywood actors. They all go through this, and some of these guys actually learn the truth of these things, and they try to tell their truth through music and make a song about it. And then they allow them to do it because when you hear a song about it, you're like, oh, that's a cool idea. So it makes kind of a cool song, but that doesn't mean it's really true. So it's kind of like reverse psychology on the mind, reverse programming when you hear their music. But they actually are telling you the truth, and it's not necessarily fake.
Yeah, and that you've heard of the Tavistock Institute, right? formed back, I think, in the 50s. Of the Beatles, I'm sure were part of it, but a lot of the European bands came from that. But then also they recruited into that a lot of the American, and this is where, like, rock and roll, modern rock and roll, it was actually started. It was through a CIA, psyop kind of, basically. I mean, they realized what music, how music can move people and how they can use it as a tool to, as much as I love rock and metal and everything, it's like but in the same way that we're using this tool to point out their flaws and point out their manipulations and everything. I'm a musician, and I like to use it because I have the ability to write my own lyrics and use what they've used and the influences from that to go ahead and write truth music, even though it's kind of weird because you'll listen to a song. Well, they knew the truth, but they may have been part of an MK Ultra program, and they're supposed to be telling you the truth, but they're only for the people that are hearing it right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Look into Tavistock, and hey, while I'm thinking about this, I just remember this video we were talking about. You were talking about the was it the Suez Canal or Panama?
Suez.
And and it's hundreds of miles long. Well, everywhere an airplane takes flight, that's hundreds of miles long, isn't it?
Usually, yeah.
Everywhere an airplane flies, they call it an airplane because it's in the air and it flies across a plane. Yep. Okay. Well, I have a pretty cool video I want to share, and it's over an hour long, but it's almost 2 hours long. But this guy kind of he goes through all the documents where the Navy pilots and all pilots, and he explains how all pilots. I mean, I don't know why they would teach a pilot that they're flying over a sphere, but they want you to treat it as if it's a flat plane. That's,
they have
I mean, isn't that a contradiction? I mean, imagine yourself being a pilot and you'd be like, all right, the Earth is a sphere, but I'm learning to fly across a flat plane at 500 miles per hour. Now, when you learn the spherical geometry of the globe, you're going to be like, now, if that was the case, I'm going to have to fly around the globe. Every couple minutes, I'm going to have to start flying around the globe. But then guess what? Gravity makes up for it. So, all right, well, I'll buy it, I guess. But no, anyway, this guy tells you that what they do for all the mathematics, from you flying from point A to point B over hundreds of miles, is across a flat plane. Treat it as if it's flat, but it's a globe. But anyway.
Yeah. So I've got a picture here of the moon landing of the astronaut coming off the stairs for the first step. A, how did they get a camera there for that? And B, there you could see here it was photoshopped and dithered and everything. And when you do that, you can see that there's a square around the Earth that is supposedly the moon. And on top of that square, there's also the corner of the room that can be seen dithered out. And you can see like the corner with the set right here of the moon above it. So this is actually the room, the angle of which the camera was in. And then you have the fake poster sitting there. Now, they had Photoshop in the 60s, but it was NASA's own Photoshop. It wasn't anything that a consumer could get their hands on, or even most businesses. It was just programming what NASA had. But they never expected us to get Photoshop or anything. So when these pictures that you could pull straight from NASA's website, which this one was, you could dither it out and see that from their own website and see how fake it is. So
yeah, who filmed them landing and leaving the moon? Who they keep back there, and that technology was not good enough to send pictures and stream it down to the Earth at that time.
Now, Rice Ray posted a Jim Carrey thing. Now, Jim Carrey actually believes the flat Earth, but he learned it from his mentor Andy, which you may remember, Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman actually was a flat earther, so I don't know if you guys knew that.
I did
Yeah,
not
he,
know that.
he knows about it. He just can't say it openly. So he makes a little movie so those with eyes to see. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and going back to your picture there, where you're exposing that they photoshopped the Earth in there. The moon is a certain size when we view it from the Earth, and if you were on the moon and the Earth is, what do they say, 4 times? I think conservatively it's 4 times as big. I want to say
Right,
6.
it would look bigger than what it shows.
It would look fucking huge in the sky.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I agree. They get this. So that's the one huge failing about NASA is they always get scaling wrong. They never scale anything correctly, and you can always catch them on that.
Even the continents are different sizes. If you look at the different sketches of the Earth, like North America gets huge and then it gets small. Did you notice that in all those globe models? There's about 8 of them.
So, like the Jim Carrey thing, Andy Kaufman sits there and he dresses up like that. What's that old guy, the Ron, whatever, that old like nasty guy that he always dresses up as, Andy Kaufman. You know what I'm talking about? He wears like the fake glasses and he's got the fake fat gut. And he's like some like nasty person, right? Well, he starts singing, if you believe they put a man on the moon. So that's literally like the song they sing. So it's an image of Andy Kaufman dressing up as a fake person, singing a song about the fake moon trip. So he's trying to put it all together. So if you're really looking at that, you should be able to see what he's trying to get, like the message.
Right. Yeah, and then they called the movie Man on the Moon, wasn't it? The movie that Jim Carrey.
But if you're so blindsided that the Earth isn't flat, and you haven't even thought that could be the case, you'll never see that message. You'll just be completely blind to it, and it works because it's such a huge lie that people don't see it. But the message is there for when you actually start looking for it. So tell someone to watch that movie like after you've given them the idea about flat Earth. It's just kind of a good dwell to think on. They'll start thinking about what they're saying. And then people will start realizing, a lot of these lyrics say this kind of stuff, and they are trying to tell us this.
The thing is that they've been told not to tell us openly, so they know, but they won't say it openly.
Well, because they're fear for their life, because they probably take them out.
Yes, some of them, yes. Some of them just believe that the sleeping souls, right? They are like animals, and like you don't cast your pearls before swines because they don't know what pearls are. They'll just shit on them.
So here's a lead developer at Google Earth who believes the Earth is flat. And it's a good article. But basically, he was doing all the calculations when he started doing the Southern Hemisphere mapping. He was going through it and he said, none of this works. It doesn't fit anything. And so that's what led him to believe to become a flat earther, is when he was actually getting the real data from supposedly NASA and other places, and he realized that the information NASA was sending him doesn't make sense and it doesn't fit in any of the models.
So the Google guy came clean?
Look at this.
He came clean and he got fired for
it. Look how they brainwash the kids, okay? When you load Google Earth, they say loading in progress 4.5 billion out of like.
Yeah, they lie.
Imagine like a 5 or 6 years old who wants to know where he lives. He goes there, he gets brainwashed, he goes out. I live on a ball. There you go. Job is done.
So here's what this lead developer says. He says, everything in this world is theory, from black holes to roundness of the Earth. He says, as a lead Google developer for over 7 years, it is my responsibility to finally address our terrestrial landscape. After years of diligent study and intent work, I've concluded there is no way the Earth can be spherical. Given how our data at Google has never matched up to NASA's data, and given how modern technology simply cannot measure the magnitude of such a planet, we can never really be guaranteed the Earth is spherical. The truth is, this idea is so ingrained in our culture that no one questions it. Well, I'm questioning it. So there you go. The lead Google Earth developer came out and said that. The guy actually has to write the code and he has to write the algorithms that fit the data that they're getting from satellites, etc. And it just doesn't fit on a spherical model.
They have to remove sections of the oceans to make it fit. Like they have all this extra land that they slice out of it to make it fit conform with the globe.
How come we don't see satellites all over in these pictures?
So here's the thing.
Oh, the space ones? Yeah,
Yeah.
because there are none.
Well,
Exactly.
here's the thing. There are satellites. So I thought for a while there weren't. And I even have a video explains why there isn't. However, I thought about this long and hard. We do have levitation technology. We can keep things, and they have free energy, at least at the CIA level. So they very well, very easily could create a satellite that could float up at the top and be powered. Any extra power it might need, it can get from solar panels. So
Like the TR3s.
right, the TR3B, yes.
They mostly use a helium balloon, and they send things in the ether. Look up ether. It's a Greek god, I think.
But the problem with the balloon is they pop because there was one that fell in Brazil. So they do use
Yeah, I know.
balloons,
That's what I'm saying. Mostly, right, balloons.
Yeah, but I think.
But they also send things in the ether.
Yeah, they're using they're using levitation, which is required to make use of the ether to float itself. Because Nikola Tesla said the ether is real, and that's what he makes use of for his technology.
What's the ether?
It's just like our atmosphere is the ether, the air within the firmament. Just another name for the charge. He just called it ether, like pulling it out of thin air.
It has a charge, so like the Earth itself is negatively charged, like the dirt, and then the air is positively charged, and that's what attracts all things to the dirt. It's really magnetism. Even our bodies, everything we have, it's not actual gravity. We use
just like the lightning gets attracted from air to earth, or opposite way, maybe. I don't know which way, but I'm sure there's a connection there.
You know what? Sometimes the spark comes up from the ground, like maybe 10 foot, but the long one comes from the sky down.
Okay.
Like a freeze frame, you can see it coming up out of the ground. It's cool.
I've seen that before. I have seen that, and sometimes it looks like it meets another arc up above, doesn't it? From the ground up, and another one where they meet.
Yeah, possibly. But like magnets, for example, they are visibly experiments. Like we can actually use those and play with it because they create their own little toroidal fields that attract each other negatively and positively. But they're that way because of the way the molecules are in a magnet. They affect the toroid field around them. But if you can create something that creates a 0 point in the what do you call it in the charged field, you create it down to 0 point to where then it now is no longer affected by the Earth's toroid, because the Earth has a giant toroidal field. That's what keeps everything attracted to it. But if you can cancel that out, you can actually move up and down through it. And that's how levitation works.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So you can even buy these little pads for like $60 on Amazon that'll like levitate a disc, because they're realizing they can create this with just a little bit of electricity to zero it out. And if you float a disc over it, it just creates a toroidal field over the plane of the device. And if you get anything that can fit in that toroidal field properly, it'll float it. So you can actually levitate stuff with it. It's like a toy you can get now. So I mean, levitation is coming out like to the consumer. People are going to start taking that toy apart, figure out how it works, and make larger and scale it up for larger things. I actually bought one, and I'm waiting for it to arrive at my door.
See that electricity that coming up from the ground, and there's an overhang from the roof above it. You could see there's like several different strands of electrical energy. There's a thin blue one, there's one in the middle, and there's a thicker white one. And then the next frame, you see the two coming together. The lightning from the cloud touches it, and then they discharge a really bright light.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing in the past. I forgot about it until you brought it up.
You know what's funny? If you're standing under your patio, right, under that roof, you think you're safe, right? Well, I'm not out in the rain, right? And then boom, that thing comes up from underneath you and hits you. It's like, how the hell did I get hit?
I know better than that.
I would have
tells me not to stay out in the patio.
I would have never thought that's possible. That there.
I feel like that's natural, so I wouldn't even do that.
I'm saying if you're on your porch, you think, okay, I'm not standing over the wet grass. How, I'm cool here. That like
I just know it can come deep from the ground. It's gonna go through a little small layer of cement. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I know it'll happen.
The odds are slim.
They even tell you to stay away from the windows when you're in the inside during an electrical storm.
So or the sink. Don't take a shower or wash your hands. It'll come up through the plumbing.
So here we have a picture of the moon landing, and there's two stage lights from this photograph that they captured. And then there's some guy walked all the way around here on the moon in a different direction.
I wish I could afford one of those flat Earth models that they have out. They even got some that'll hang on the wall, but they're so darned expensive.
What do you mean a model? Does it got a dome over it?
Yeah, it's got a dome, and he's got all the stars on there. I'll look it up on YouTube and
you can buy them. They're like $500, but it's like a model.
Some of them are even $1,000, $1,200. Yeah.
You know what? When it gets mainstream, they'll be cheap. I think we're not far away from this becoming a mainstream thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to come out. It's a movement as well. It's a great awakening movement. It's just going to take time.
You know why? Because how long can these scientists, and there's already been engineers coming out, how long can they keep discrediting them?
That's a good question. How long? And you know what's going to happen? It's going to be a big war. That's something, I don't know if you see it, guys, but they won't let that go out of their hand, okay? Because if they do, they have the choice. They're gonna put us in a war. Now, some who are already woke won't go, but
you have to understand that they've already been trying to do that. Israel has already made 3 attempts to start World War III. One of them was when one of them was recent with the they tried to launch a nuke off the coast of Hawaii, and they called it a false alarm, but it wasn't a false alarm. It was a real nuke. And our Navy shot it down. Our military shot it down, and they sunk the Dolphin II sub. Now, when we looked at the military armaments around the world to see who was missing a Dolphin II sub, it was Israel.
So you think Israel tried to throw a missile at Hawaii?
Absolutely. And there's also 2 other attempts that they did to try to start World War II.
So you think you think that Israel is gonna go against his biggest ally?
Yes. So
they are gonna put the face of Trump on the shekel for their temple, but bomb Hawaii.
Yes.
But they did it. It's behind our back. Like Israel bombed the USS Liberty to try and get the United States to fight Egypt. They admitted to it afterwards, but they tried to sink that ship.
Trump knows that they're not our friends. They know that they're backstabbing us. He has a lot of reason.
He's just playing the game along the way.
And he's saving the best for last, which is Israel in this whole plan. So Q, if you know about Q has the plan to fix Saudi Arabia, which he's done, then North Korea, which he just completed. Iran is next, which he's working on now and almost done. Then he's taking out the Rothschild globalists in Europe. But he's actually doing Iran and the Rothschilds kind of at the same time because the Rothschilds' economy is really tied into Iran right now. So they're taking out both, but he's going to finish Iran, then he's going to finish out the Rothschild globalist elite. Once they're taken out, the elite's done, all that's left is Israel. And Israel will be last. They will take care of them last. That is Trump's ultimate goal.
Why is Bob not for flat Earth? Why is he in this area? Everything's against flat Earth.
Well, he thinks that Trump is Satan and that he's a pedophile, but he thinks all presidents are because that's the only way you can become president. But he doesn't realize that, Trump's not a politician in the traditional sense. That's why they hate him. That's why he got in because he wasn't supposed to win. She was supposed to win. Because
is he a Q follower?
He is not, I don't think. Or he might follow him, but he definitely doesn't believe it.
So you think it's a coincidence that he set the embassy on the 70th anniversary and everything of Jerusalem?
Yeah, when he went to do all that, he went to do that to curry favor to make them think that he was with them.
I mean, Trump was supposed to win from the get-go and everything. It goes a step further than what you're describing here. That's what I think. But
Trump was not supposed to win from the
get-go. It was supposed to win from the get-go.
It was Jeb or Hillary. Trump was long odds. He was like 100 to 1 odds at the beginning. Before the primary, nobody thought he would win.
The military were going to take out Obama and Hillary eventually, but they waited and asked Trump to run, is what I heard.
Well, the Freedom Caucus got together and they asked Trump to run. That's what happened. So the Freedom Caucus is the one that illustrated a lot of this from the beginning.
See, it's not Trump per se. He's the mouthpiece of the Patriots, right? He just does what he's told to.
He couldn't do nothing if it wasn't for the backing. Yeah.
Right. I heard there was a lot of dirt on Trump too. Like I've heard he went to Epstein Island. I've heard a lot of these accusations. I haven't been able to prove them out, right? So I'm not going to accuse him.
He did go to Epstein Island, but he didn't know what he was getting into.
Can I ask you guys a question?
They took him there. He saw what it was, and he told them to get me the hell out of here right now. And he got on a plane and immediately flew back. Like he did not stay once he realized what was there.
Go ahead, ask your question, bro.
Who won World War II?
The Nazis.
The Zionists. Yeah, the Zionist one, the Rothschilds.
So the Rothschilds won World War II, right?
Yes.
Hitler fled to Argentina.
So the Ashkenaz, right?
Yes,
they were playing, yes, the Khazars, yeah.
Okay. When you're playing both sides, you can't lose. They were running both sides.
Yeah, we understand all that, man. I'm telling you right now, Trump is not. He is not with those guys. Like he's actually really pissed.
No, I know he's not what Bob is saying to be, but I personally I think he works for the Jews. But you guys, you do you?
No, he doesn't. That's a front. I'm telling you. He is actually really pissed that Jared Kushner married his daughter. He does not like that fact at all. And it's another reason why he wants to get back at Israel.
And isn't there a difference between Zionists and Jews as a race?
Well, Zionist isn't a race.
Right, but the Zionists are deep state, like what we're fighting against.
Well, we're fighting against the Khazarians, which are a Khazarian Jew. It's a type of Jew that specifically tries to undermine everything about America and freedom. And they've placed themselves into all of our key positions in the White House and other places in government, even governors and mayors, everywhere to try to control everything. They want to see our destruction. They're hell bent on destroying America.
So are they all connected then? The Khazarian Jews, are they all connected with all the main players that are fighting against Trump?
Yes, they are. They're all fighting against Trump. None of them want them in there. That's why they're controlling the media to attack them the way they're doing and creating this grand scale movement, because they would not be doing this otherwise, because it's angering and waking up all the people. And that's the last thing they need. That's evidence alone that Trump is doing what he's doing, is the fact that people are waking up to it all.
And why would he risk his life to go against this cabal if he wasn't for real?
Because he has children, and he's going to have grandchildren. Well, he has grandchildren already, and he has children, and he wants to see a place for them to live. Technically, he could have probably bought it on the island and had a place for them to live, but how safe would they be on that island? You know, if someone decided to come over and take that island over, they wouldn't be able to do anything.
So when do you fit Jesus in that?
What do you mean, where do I fit Jesus in that?
Well, you're saying that Trump is doing what he's doing because he wants a place to live for his kids. So I'm saying to you, where do you fit Jesus in that?
I think Trump is a Christian, as far as like they show him. I know it could be all charades. I remain skeptical on everyone, but he does do his prayer meetings and stuff. And as far as Ivanka marrying the Jewish guy, I don't know about that one, because he's like,
that's why he hates it, because she's not Jewish by default. He's Christian, and they're Christian. And
somebody's going to get double crossed. It's either going to be us or it's going to be the synagogue of Satan. At the end of the day, Trump is going to double cross one, because you can't serve two masters. So let's hope he's on the right team, because I don't think he would double cross all those people that he looked them in the face at those rallies and they're saying, lock her up. He doesn't want to be on the other end of that. I guarantee you.
I also guarantee you that if he hadn't won, we would already be at World War III with Russia, because Hillary was talking about going to war with Russia during her campaign. That was going to be immediately the first thing she did was start World War III. So the
16-year plan.
So the fact that we're still around and not in World War III and are friends with Russia right now is a much better alternative than the other way around. So even if they are lying to us, even if he is lying to us and he's leading us along, he still bought us more time than we would have had otherwise.
You know, the military coup that was going to happen, they were going to physically remove Obama. Trump knows they would physically remove him if he tried to double cross it, because more so the patriots running the military, they don't want to see their children and grandchildren raped and cannibalized. They've seen enough of this garbage, and they know they have to put a stop to it now, or they'll never be able to stop it. Once they get this technocracy in place, it will be impossible to get out.
So you say Trump gets on top and he makes things right? That's your ending?
We're trying to right now. That's what this great.
Okay, so when is the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, and Jesus coming into play and all of that?
Later.
None of us can answer. You're asking me to answer unanswerable.
But what if it's not later and it's all tied to this? But you're just too focused.
It can be. So it could be now. So here's what happened, right? So the Dutch bank is going to be the first bank to fall, the first world bank. When it does, all the other world banks are going to crumble. They're all going to fall in line because they're all going to default on each other, and that's it. It's going to be worthless. So they're already setting up gold-backed currency right now as we speak. They're filling the coffers with gold, and they're planning to reback it so that we don't turn into what Venezuela is today. So they're taking care of that. But on top of that, the dollar still may crash enough, and we still may have to change it enough that we potentially.
But what about cryptocurrency?
That's what I'm getting to. We may go to a Fed coin for the U.S. Or a world global currency still.
That's the mark of the beast, bro. If we do that,
the beast. That's it.
That's what I'm
saying. So if we go there, who's Jesus is coming then? Where you put Jesus in there?
Eventually, yes, but the mark of the beast is going to be around.
So
for a
we in it
before Christ comes.
No, because those days will be shortened. So
not at that point. It's still
Yes,
shortened, but
right
it's
after the
but
mark.
that dude, you're talking about the grand scheme of things. Shortened could be 7 years. You could have 7 years of peace with the mark of the beast, and then things start going to haywire after that. There's still some time in between all this. Like, there
But
doesn't
at
have
the
to
end,
happen. You guys are so doomsdayist. Like, I mean, come on, people. Like, there
I'm
really
telling
could
you, we
be.
live in the latter days.
We
That's
are in
my
the latter
point.
days. I agree we're in the latter days, but the latter
I
days
think
could
right
last
now it's
years.
close to the reap. The reaper is so close. Okay, it's right
It's
now
not
we're
that
seeing the
close.
wheat. We're seeing the wheat and the tares bloom right now. Jesus says, when you see the blooming happening, you know that the summer is nigh.
we can only speculate. Nobody knows when the second coming's going to be. We don't know. I mean, you're asking us to predict God. That's no man can do that.
No,
I don't
that's not what I'm asking. I'm just saying that
I'm
right
telling you, there
now
could
we're seeing
be.
the blooming.
I'm telling you, there
The
could
reaping
be.
is near.
It might be near, but near could be 7 years from now. It could be 20 years.
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
now.
of course, it's not in a 1 or 2 years period. You need to get like the there's a couple
Right.
events that
So
need to happen.
we can
Yes.
have the market. Trump could purposely crash the market and create the mark of the beast system, etc. Right? But we could
Hey,
still
guys.
have
So
peace with the mark of the beast. Now,
Hey,
yeah, but
guys.
if you take the mark, you'll be doomed.
Hey,
exactly.
can I interject something here real quick?
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
You probably already know from the things I've typed in the other Discord channel, but I've been a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years, and I finally woke up 2.5 years ago. I realized I was in a cult. It was a doomsday cult, and after I got out, I was really searching for answers to really what's life all about, and why are so many different religions. And I began to realize that all different religions that preach a doomsday message, the people really live in fear. That's why you see so many false prophets, so many people predicting the end over all these decades and these hundreds of years. But if you do some real research on it, these last days prophecy things didn't get started till about 150 years ago. Before then, if you go way back and do some research on all prophecy fulfilled under preterism, you'll find out that it makes so much more sense when you read the Bible in the context. It's not talking about future for us. It was talking about the future for the
So
century people.
when John says, I baptize you with water, but the one coming after me is going to baptize you with fire.
Yeah.
What do you think that's about?
I believe that under the preterist view is that everything Jesus foretold was fulfilled by the year 70 CE, as far as that fire was the fire that destroyed Jerusalem by the Roman army.
No.
Daniel prophesied about all that stuff. You see,
when they say every eyes shall see him, the sun and the moon will go dark, the stars will fall, and he will come down from heaven brighter than 10 suns. Every eyes shall see him.
I understand all that because I've been through all that. Yeah. I lived in fear. You
don't understand. I don't live in fear. I live in understanding, knowledge, and wisdom. That's different.
Yep.
So,
but you think that it's going to happen tomorrow, and it's not.
No, it's not going to happen tomorrow. I said there's the temple need to be rebuilt. The mark of the beast, the image of the beast that is going to be probably a talking AI that they were going to put in some cyborg or something. There's a lot of things that need to happen.
God doesn't need a temple. He doesn't dwell in handmade temples, the Bible tells us clearly.
Yes, but they're going to rebuild their temple.
The Solomon temple is supposed to be rebuilt. And the Antichrist,
they will rebuild it.
The Antichrist is supposed to stand on top, and that's when Armageddon begins. So when that happens, then you know the end is near. But until that point, you don't know when it's going to happen. That could be years from now before they rebuild that.
Yeah, but we see some, like the 70 year of Israel from 1948
I don't
to
buy into
2008.
I've read into that, and I don't think that's accurate.
70. No, you see, they take that shit so seriously that they are making it fit with the date it's supposed to fit, with
Right.
their calendar that has been given to them at the beginning of the. They take it so freaking seriously that even if it's not supposed to happen, they're gonna make it happen. Okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna stop them from doing that. That's the whole point.
Nothing is gonna stop nothing. It must come to pass.
It will come to pass. It's just not going to come to pass on their timetable. This is a two-sided
I
street.
believe it's gonna come to pass during the days we're now, and that's the reason you're seeing the awakening now. It's because some will be called to do great things. That's what I believe.
Right, but the great things have to come to pass in order to be called to do great things.
Yes, and then the
So that
Antichrist
means,
will win against the saints.
right. So when that happens, well, he won't win. He'll go out and he'll call.
He will
He will
win
call the
against the
world.
saints.
No, he'll call all the godless people. The winning part of the saying is not in the Bible. I don't know where you got that.
We will get beheaded in the name of Jesus for refusing the mark.
There will be some that will, yes, not all.
That he wins over the saint. He get the victories over the saints. We are the saint. We are those that are blooming as wheat. We are awakening.
He doesn't
right now,
win.
blooming.
I don't know where you get this win thing from. What
Revelation,
no,
victory against
Revelation
the
does
saint,
not
whatever.
talk about that. So what it says.
Well, I can quote it then.
You can misquote it because what it says is that he will come down. He will declare that there is no God on Solomon's temple. Armageddon will then break out against the saints. It'll be the world versus those who believe in Christ. And they'll literally be battling each other to the death. It'll be a massive global war, fighting each other. In the midst of that war, Christ will then come down and stop it. And he will rule and reign over the earth forever after that. During the middle of
the days will be shortened after the...
They don't win. Christ comes down and he stops it.
He makes war with the saint and to overcome them. So we awake. He's going to make war with us. He's going to overcome us. He's going to make his one world system. Then when they think everything is okay, like in the days of Noah, they will see the one they pierced. Again, I think, imagine, we all agree on the flat earth, I think, right?
Yeah.
So you get the dome, right? And the throne of God is on top of the dome, right? Well, like God, at the highest point.
Yes.
He's sitting in the center. He's the most high God. Yeah. Now, Jesus is sitting on that throne. So when the stars and the moon go down, imagine like a sun, right? But maybe 100 times brighter than the sun, coming down from the throne. So at the North Pole. And the whole earth will be under his light. We're all gonna see him, every eyes. And those that are not protected will be baptized. We're gonna be baptized by his fire. And those not protected will,
You're missing 1,000 years in between there, though. So there's the millennial day that's going to occur before the fire. Actually, no, that's not true. The fire is going to happen just before the millennial.
Before.
Yeah, you're right.
And then 1,000 years, and then the snake, and then Ragnarok comes again. The snake is let loose again, and he deceived the whole world again. And they go and they try to attack Jerusalem and fire again.
Well, no, that doesn't happen. So yes, he is loosed, and you will be tempted again, because when Satan is bound, you will not have. You will not be tempted, and everyone will be living in harmony. The lamb will lay with the lion, etc. But once he's loosed, all your previous feelings that you have, negative feelings, will all come back. And at that point, you're then judged. Judgment day comes. You're judged to pass through and move on into your plane of existence. That you
I don't agree with that timeline exactly, but I think,
the loosing.
Okay, the thing is,
the loosening the second time when he comes out at the end of the 1,000.
There's gonna be the first resurrection of the dead and the second resurrection of the dead. I believe that I'll be part of the first.
No, so the first is immediately when the millennium day starts. So when the 1,000 year begins, there'll be a wave of first resurrections of those his elect, those who are knowledgeable, because they have to
exactly me getting beheaded.
They have to yeah, the beheaded people probably will be the first because they have to prepare the kingdom. That's what their duty is. So they will be resurrected first. Then slowly over time, other people will be getting resurrected over the course of 1,000 years.
I don't think that's correct, but
that is.
I think there's only 2 resurrection of the dead. Not like many thousand resurrection of the dead over 1,000 years. It never says that. It says there's the first and the second.
That's
Blessed
you don't have
who
all
is
that's because you don't have all the
first.
knowledge about the millennial day. There are other books that aren't in the Bible.
Hey guys, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of the reason why so many people are leaving organized religion is just these things have caused wars and death and famine throughout history, fighting over their religious beliefs. I think that's where most of us have gone wrong, including me, in trying to find a religion to fit what we want it to fit in our thinking, instead of just accepting that we're spiritual and accept Jesus in faith, and he'll take care of the rest.
Well, right. I don't hate Rice Ray. I actually respect him.
No, I don't hate Nick also.
I don't hate either one of you either, but if you look at religion, if you look at religion's history, I did about a 30-hour review of religious history after I got out of Jehovah's Witnesses, which I should have done first. But anyway, it just the most terrible atrocities have taken place among professed godly people on the face of the earth.
Yes,
and I don't think that's what Jesus really came here to set us up to do. And right. I think it's about loving our brothers as God is love, and I don't have all the answers, but I think that just leads us down a big argumentative rabbit hole.
No, you're correct. When you give power to the wrong people, it turns bad. And then the wrong people always want power. Like, it's a coincidence.
Well, at the same time, we're fighting all that, and we're in a discussion room to discuss it. So that's the whole reason we're talking about it.
Sure, I don't have a problem with that, but it's just my perspective from what I've gone through.
I'm just getting to learn all you guys and who you are and what you guys believe in. That's why we're questioning and asking.
Yeah, I'm a motherfucker. I'll be honest.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I enjoy this discussion, all you guys. I really do.
Yes, me also.
But I just want everyone to know that I honestly believe that there are going to be some good times before the bad times. So there is a little bit of good time left, and
I'm with you on that.
Things good and evil always comes in waves, and that's guaranteed. So like when there's a lot of bad, there then turns to be a lot of good. The Great Awakening is proving that there's going to be a lot of good coming. People are awake to all this, and they're not powerful enough to do it right now. But what's going to happen is they're going to lie in wait, and they're going to build up while the good times are good. They're going to learn from their previous mistakes, and they're going to come back harder and worse next time, and it'll probably be the end time.
You see, that's where I disagree with you. I think it's gonna be this time. I think the temple is gonna be built. The whole thing is gonna be in the next 10 to 20 years. That's what I believe.
Hey guys,
well, that's a long time from now, though. We could have a lot of good days with 20
Yeah,
years.
that's why I say to people, eat bacon.
No matter how it turns out, which one of you is right or whatever. For what it's worth, I dropped a video up there a little ways. It's Dr. Jeffrey Long, and it's quite interesting. He does the world's largest study on near-death experiences, and it's just something that I really enjoyed and kind of gave me hope that no matter what happens, whether we get beheaded or whether we get killed of some tragic way or whatever, or die naturally, it kind of scientifically gives us some hope that there is life after death.
Yep, no doubt. I'm going to be looking through all the stuff you guys posted.
It's ye shall be as gods, you see. Also, Nick, I got a channel on my server called Don't Be Vegan. And because it says in the Bible, they will be commanded not to marry and not to eat meat.
Yeah.
Coming in the New World Order, it's going to be a crime to kill an animal. And even if you look the Illuminati card, there's one, it's called political correctness. There you go. Oh, what the fuck? Right.
Hey guys, I could stay up all night and talk, but I got to get up and finish a job tomorrow. I do cleaning work, so be glad to come back in here anytime if you'll have me.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure,
appreciate
man.
you guys coming. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the stream here. If you guys want to subscribe and like, so that you'll get notified and turn on the notifications. That way, when we start up the stream again, we'll have it back up. I plan to do this more often. I may not do it every day, but probably most days I'll have it going, and we can discuss and talk about all kinds of things, Q related, flat Earth related, religion, whatever. You know, this is a free thinkers lounge. We want to just freely think about whatever, discuss. That's the whole idea. Truth is truth. There should not be any ignoring of the truth. You know, we just need to pick that up. So whatever it is, whatever we decide, whatever we figure out, whatever we discuss, you know, just take it to heart, be nice to each other, keep it going, and we'll see you next time. God bless.
Thanks, Nikitas.
Yep, see you guys around.
So you guys, we're keeping talking, or what's going on?
You can if you want. I'm actually going to head out too. But we're going to be on here. Like, I'm going to be on. If you guys are on, I'm going to be on. So during the day. The weekend, tomorrow, I've got a pretty busy day. I'm going to be cutting down trees in my lawn. And I've got to climb like 100 feet to literally cut down these trees. They're really tall. They're going to fall on my house if I don't. So I've got to do that tomorrow. Hopefully I'll survive that ordeal, and there'll be more of this going on. And then on Sunday, I'll be pretty open. I'll probably be on. Monday, I'm actually going to go to a Trump rally, so I may not be on Monday.
We should create some kind of an alliance, like so that there's always a stream going on like one channel.
So check this out. I made this. This is what I made. I made this T-shirt, so I'm going to a Trump rally. I'm going to wear the T-shirt, see if I can get Trump to notice it.
Nice.
Hey, do you have the little free thinker on there too?
I do, and I'm going to actually have. I actually updated it, so I have the invite link on the shirt too, so people can like join.
I took the map from 1544 from Monte, like the real old flat Earth map. And I made a big poster out of it.
Oh, that 10-foot
on my wall
map. That thing's awesome.
Yeah, I made this too. I'm going to put on. I had a white version here. It has the Discord link on it.
I'll post it.
So that's for the white T-shirt. If you guys want to grab those graphics, you can make your own T-shirts with it. I'm fine with it. I'm gonna try to get Trump to see it if I can get close enough. I'm going like 5 hours early to try to get like a front row seat, or maybe even be able to get to sit behind him. You know, maybe I can show.
Have you printed it?
Yeah.
Nikitas, did you?
Yeah,
it's already printed already.
Well, it's printing out tomorrow. I got a guy doing it for me tomorrow.
That only thing I would change is a little bit thicker on the red band around Antarctica, so you could tell it's a Q. It's a little bit thin, that stripe.
Yeah, I know. People say that. I was thinking about doing that, but I might. I've already set in the graphic. It was kind of a short notice thing, so I didn't have a lot of time. I just made that in like 10 minutes. So, but
you're still live streaming, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
That map is awesome, dude. That 10-foot Monty map.
Yeah, man. It's on my wall right now. I got like a little scientist kit with like a microscope and shit, and it's on the wall.
How much did it cost you to print that? Is it 10 foot or did you scale it down? Obviously.
Well, the whole thing cost me about $100. I made like a poster, like the biggest I could, and then I took like some kind of it was laminated like on some kind of styrofoam or something.
So I want to point something out on this flat Earth Gleason map. So does it bother anybody that like South America is scrunched and Australia is scrunched as much as it is? Because I don't think that's accurate 100%. I feel like it should be like elongated.
On which one? The Monte? The map I posted?
No, on the one above it for my T-shirt, the Gleason map.
Okay.
I feel like South America is supposed to be a little bit more elongated from top to bottom than it is.
Well, if you go on the, I can explain it. If you go on the Wikipedia page for the AE map, it explains exactly why that's happening. There's a lot of math on there, but it's kind of it's not simplistic terms, but if you look through the article, I mean, you don't have to do all the math to really kind of understand what the azimuthal equidistant map. It's equidistant from the North Pole, so it's really a globe map, is what it is. It's a globe spread out.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Right. So I just feel like it's inaccurate though, like from a viewing point, because
directionally, especially in the northern hemisphere, directionally, it's accurate.
Yeah.
But when you get to the southern hemisphere, things are kind of wonky. But you can see that the squares, or they're not squares because they're curved, but in the southern hemisphere, you see how they're bigger. That's why it's scrunched up, because yeah, Australia is quite a bit larger than that.
Right, and I feel like you could make that like more accurate and still be accurate, because if you were to literally zoom in, like say with Google Earth, you can see every building right from the interstate and every point of it. So at least the view or the shape of the continent is accurate on a globe. It's just the placement on the globe is what should be incorrect. But when we look at the flat Earth map, it bothers me because I know it's not shaped like that.
Well, you know what? You see how it's like every 15 degrees is one time zone, is one hour, right? So Australia has 2 time zones, but when you get closer to the northern hemisphere, the US has we got here 3 or 4 time zones. 3 time zones.
Well, I think isn't it supposedly because like there's like a dip, like it's concave or whatever, and that's why it's like that. So we're looking at it in 2 dimensions, but if you were to
but no, that has nothing to do with it though. I mean, it's like I'm saying,
okay.
if you go look at the wiki page for the AE map, you'll understand why. It directionally you can use it as an accurate map to travel from one place to another, one continent to another. And actually what's really funny is like